think I need to keep on clicking on that little button. Anyway, I might just say that again because I'm not sure if this is, there we go, 0 views. This is exactly what we're expecting. So I'm not expecting any real views here today. Anyway, that's going to be okay. So everything looks pretty comfortable there, I think. Yeah, that all looks good. Yeah, I've only just started. Okay, so welcome, guys. If you are watching this on the on this YouTube channel, my Daz Tactic Live YouTube channel, this is the absolute first video on this channel. So I'm going to be launching this channel here. I don't even have a thumbnail or anything like an avatar. I will change all that fairly soon. But anyway, I just wanted to get some content out here. So this will be Shadow Empire. As I said just before I started clicking on the Go Live, I have to remember that I've got to do that because that is a bit of a trap. We'll just minimize that one. So Shadow Empire is going to be the series that I start this off on, but any of my long form series will end up on this channel. So if you are watching this, I guess my appeal to you is to subscribe, because that will be certainly sort of helpful. Actually, I'll give the link in just a second in the in Twitch as well, just in case anyone does want to join in from there as well. But this will be ultimately where the long form content should end up going. But I do need to try to get this channel up and monetized as fast as possible, which could take months and months to do. But anyway, at least I don't have to worry about it, like the algorithm on my main channel being impacted too much by the live stream content, which does give it it can affect it negatively. I'll just give the link in Twitch, just bear with me. So this will be youtube.com/@ where are we at Daz Tactic Live. That should be the one, I think. That should work, I think. There we go. We've got 1 viewer. Welcome, whoever you are. I won't keep on going back and having a look to see who's here. Oh, there we go. We've got Space Sailor saying things working fine on the YouTube side. Pi Day from Twitch. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Pi Day. So anyway, that's I'll keep on when I do these long form series. I will definitely be putting it onto the channel that you're watching if you are watching this on YouTube. Right, let's start a new game and just get into this incredible game of Shadow Empire. It's sort of funny, I had a look at the ratings and just updates and so on and so forth, and it's sort of like it's fallen off a little bit in terms of the popularity just in recent time, in the last 30 days, and I don't know why that would be, because the Republica DLC is actually exceptionally good. Oceania will be good eventually, but it's not good. It's not great yet. I tend to not play with that on, just because you can't play with navies yet, but that will eventually come. But Republica is definitely playable, so I'm not sure why the ratings are so poor. Actually, it's sort of funny now that I don't have the time pressure. In terms of trying to protect my YouTube algorithm, I can deviate off to sort of try to figure out. Actually, let's do that. Let's go in and see exactly why. This is the Twitch side of things. I've got different browsers for the different YouTube channels now, just so I can keep track of them. All right, so we've got in this case here, we're going to just go to Steam. Steam Power. Let's just see what people are saying about the game, because I am interested always to see what where people are actually struggling with games. I never look at this in the sense that it's more just information to find out what it is that people are. See how it's mixed is the recent reviews. If we go down to the reviews in through here, it's the negative reviews. The recent negative reviews, the ones ruined by AI slop. Yeah, okay, I knew that was going to be a kickback. You can turn that off. Okay, so I will actually try to tackle this one. I actually think look, I'm a graphic designer, but that's my actual trade. I'm an illustrator as well, and so what I tend to do is I don't like AI because it does sort of take my job a lot. To be honest, not even just a little bit, but a hell of a lot. It's really impacting my field. But having said that, I find the AI works very, very well in this game. So it's a niche game. It does actually have an option to not play with the AI. So if that's the only reason really that people are, there's another one down there. looks better without the AI. Just turn it off. The option to remove it still doesn't inspire confidence. Well, it is actually one of these things, and you're going to find there will be people who, in this case, I think I find the AI does add immersion. Interface is near impossible to figure out. Help is useless as it doesn't cover the things you need to know at the start of the game, like why you can't build dirt roads or how to manage industrial points, which apparently aren't displayed anywhere. Even exiting the game is a challenge. Yeah, this is very, very true. This is actually something that is a big problem in terms of just trying to get your head around it. And so I'll try to address these sorts of things as well when we get into it. Avoid unless you want to spend hours just figuring out how to play. There's a PDF available online which also ignores important information like why does the game keep telling me I have no SHQ building when building roads, how to create a... Yeah, so this is someone who's just started to learn the game, and I would guess... Yes, the game needs at least a tutorial mode to get players started before they delete the game in frustration. Oh, I feel sorry for you. It's sort of one of these things. Unfortunately, it's a great game. Like if whoever you are is watching this, then I'm going to be trying to make this series for you, basically, or for people in your position, because I do understand the frustration. And but it's an incredible game once you get underneath what's going on. And what this particular reviewer is talking about here is the like industrial points, which apparently aren't displayed anywhere. They are displayed, but unfortunately in the game it's not shown. It's shown at the snapshot of your turn, not what you spend during your turn, and that's actually it's a thing where you ultimately end up. Oh, there we go. Sappy, you're now across on the YouTube channel. Welcome, guys. But it's in this case, what it is and it is frustrating because you often spend points and it doesn't show up, and then the next turn suddenly you've got no points at all because they're all been spent. Hi, Supreme Plague. How are you going? So anyway, that's the this is a very, very relevant sort of problem with the game. So I'll try to be mindful of this as I sort of play this particular series, because it is something where I used to worry about that. It's the min-maxing of the game is something that you should try to avoid, just because of this exact same sort of thing. Like about, for example, like you can't build dirt roads or how to manage industrial points. Yeah, so you can build the dirt roads, and it's saying through here, there's okay, so why does it keep telling me I have no SHQ when building roads? I'm not sure how to create a working infrastructure. Yeah, so this is that shouldn't happen if you haven't. Well, you must have an SHQ. Maybe it's not connected, somehow. So, Tudor is saying, "Hey, Daz, finally no Age of Wonders." Yes, and I still don't have an emoji there for a fanboy emoji, which I do mean to do. Just see if there's any other negatives that a lot of them are more positive. But I did want to look at these sort of more recent reviews. Okay, so AI you can turn off if you don't like it. I actually support the AI in this game. I generally don't support AI. Like I often get emails from developers espousing how wonderful the game is because of the AI content. They don't realise that it's actually a massive negative to rely on AI. In this case, I do support the use of AI in this game, even though for me personally, as a graphic designer and an illustrator, it actually is something that is a major threat. So, but I do appreciate the way it has been used in this game, built by a single developer basically, and it's been done thoughtfully. So it's not just a matter of trying to get the fastest result. I think it is a thoughtful approach to what's actually happened with the game. So anyway, let's go through and get into the actual game itself. So we're going to start a new game. Oh, it's nice not having to have the time pressure of the algorithm. My main channel. It's actually quite relaxing. I can sort of delve deeply into how we make a planet, because this is for me where the game absolutely shines. Like it's as deep as Dwarf Fortress, and that's really saying something. Okay, let's go through what everything means. So what there is in here is if you've got the Oceania DLC, you're going to have worlds that end up creating islands or continents in different ways. So these are sort of going to be, and we're not going to be playing with the DLC, but to play this one here, you have to have the DLC turned on to make sure that you are actually playing on one of these sorts of worlds. And so these are essentially water worlds. Additional is extra stuff that's just been added into the base game, where you've actually got a few different, these come a bit later on, and these are quite interesting. My favourite algorithm for creating a planet of all of them is this Morgana class. This one is a planet that is usually very mountainous and also very arid, but has a subterranean canal system that makes numerous oasis regions possible. Good chance planet has alien life. So you've got a bit of everything with this one. If we go back to the other ones, we'll just go through the various planets. Unclassified, it says DLC. You don't have to have the DLC on. If you do have it on, it can then create continents and islands. So it's just a random world, the way it does work. Hi, I'm Paluco. How are you going? And so with this particular one, we've got so this is unclassified in through this other side, which means it's completely random when it does create it, but it's completely random within the realm of possibility for a real planet to be created. The other ones push this randomization in a different field. Now, people have commented in the past, and I agree with it, that there should be sliders about some of these things to push the algorithm through sliders, not through these sorts of algorithms. The Seth class is your desert worlds. There'll be no life, essentially, because there's no water on the actual world. This is a hard planet to sort of really live on because of the lack of water. So you need to be looking for ice fields. So every single type of planet has its own variances and vagrancies about how things actually do work. This is an ice world where there's lots and lots of water, but it's not really freestanding water, so you still have to mine the ice, but ice is everywhere. Ice is slow to move through, so if you are sort of playing on these worlds, expect that you're going to be moving slowly across the terrain, so it can be a bit frustrating playing on these ice worlds. The Limos class is a not quite desert world, but not much better either. They have some amount of liquid water, but they're always void of life. If they would have life, they would be classified as either Siwa class or Medusa class. So this is sort of like a lifeless desert world with some water. Don't worry about, like, people often when they start playing the game will try to push alien life into it. It's not really necessary to have a fun time. In fact, sometimes it can get in your way. Hi Stick, how are you going? Made it in time. So this game is why I haven't bought all the Hearts of Iron DLC. I like this better. Yeah, this is an incredible game. Like, in terms of combat, this is just amazing. Okay, so Cerberus class is a lava world. There's no water on this world. There's still ice under the buried in the ground, but there is lava. We've got active volcanoes everywhere. Any sort of thing that would be water is actually lava lakes and lava oceans. The Siwa class is your Earthlike. This is the easiest way to sort of play the game, is to play it on these sorts of worlds. These will often, they can have anything from deserts all the way through to massive forests, but these tend to be your Earthlikes. And so that is the reason this is the easiest way to play the game, and maybe I'll sort of show some of these when we get started, is because after the whole progression of the building of the world is created, this is the one class. Often you'll end up with aliens, by the way, in this one, but this will be the one class where it's easy enough for the people after what's called the Dissolution War to become farmers and to actually just become diplomatic. So most of the other ones, the environments are too harsh to really promote farming. So we end up with a lot of farming type communities in through here, which makes diplomacy a massive thing you can then play on the Siwa class worlds. Medusa class is a sort of like, this one is a bit of a hellhole in terms of, like this is like a jungle world usually. A planet that will often have sort of liquid water and rainfall. Key characteristics that these planets have a hostile alien biology. So often that could be microbiology, like where there's, where the things will attack you. It's sort of funny, I've been reading a lot of Warhammer books over the last year or so now. And they've got different classifications of their planets, which is interesting, like the, what do they call it, the death world. And so this would be a death world. A death world is a planet where the biology is against you. And so they've got sort of like, what have they got, hive worlds, which are just, great big worlds full of cities, etc., etc. You can sort of end up with a bit of a hive world before the Dissolution War. So anyway, there's the planetoid class. These are... The planetoid is a small rocky planetoid, which essentially is a moon. It won't have an atmosphere, and then you've got the moon class, which has just got basically a very, very small moon. So this is a much more compressed way of playing the game, but it's hard because of the lack of atmosphere, and so there's no freestanding water here either. There's no freestanding water on these either, I don't think. So I think water needs to have like an atmosphere around it to be able to function. When we come across into the additional worlds, the Hydra class is this is a planet with a lot of liquid water, rainfall, and lots of swamps. It might be similar to a Siwa class or to a Lemurs class, but it almost always has more water. So this one is a one where you're going to end up with probably even more Earthlike, to be honest, than the Siwa class. But this one is sort of like a bit of a hybrid between the Oceania worlds, which have completely cut off, and this one here will actually have the world. The connection will actually happen where everything is actually connected. But the Morgana class is probably the easiest one to play. Springflake is saying, is there a random at all button? Yes, there is, basically. Unclassified. So if I go back to here, if I go to unclassified, maybe we'll have a bit of a... I'll show you the what you end up with getting on different sorts of worlds. If we go to a Seth class, let's just go and create one of these. The history, these are sort of algorithms that then push they tweak the algorithm for the planet generation. Below here you have the option to push the history of your planet in a specific direction. Flag nothing for letting the algorithm run as it's intended. Flagging options forces the algorithm in certain directions. Now, the only one I really want to have on here is just spread out. So in this case, all the majors will be spread as far as they can from each other. And this is probably the only one that I really would recommend that you do turn on. The alien life, in this case, people will turn that one on and force alien life into every little thing. Yes, you can do it. I wouldn't suggest you do it. Alien life is not your friend if you're trying to learn the game. So let's just go continue. Now, you've got different things in through here. These are the generation settings. I'll come back and talk about these in more detail. What we'll do is we'll just do a drop me in the game now, and so we'll keep it on that one through there. I'll keep everything else just what we've actually got listed in here, and we'll just go continue. So we're dropping ourselves into a desert world. Now, to see everything on the world, I need to resign. So that's the way through. Okay, so in this case, you've then got to sort of start. I'll just go and click on OK. And we'll come back through all of these things. The previous emperor is buried, yeah, dust to dust. This is the AI that you sort of do see. What I like about the AI is that it's actually been done in a way, it gives you clues about the planet as you sort of look at it. Like you can see there's no trees here, there's no grass, it's just, and everyone's wearing has like suits, they're basically, there's no atmosphere, there's no breathable atmosphere. But it's for me, it's a very dystopian sort of feel to everything. I quite like it. Depending on your government type, this one here will then sort of show you the style of government. You'll see there that even just the little symbols that are the symbols of your faction, that's our symbol up through there. So it lends itself for me, it makes it very much more immersive. The use of AI in this game, I do really appreciate. I think it adds a lot to it. And so the government types will then actually have different ways of setting this screen up, which I really quite like. And anyway, we'll just go and get rid of all this stuff. So we'll come back and explain all this when we get started. So I'm just going to go to the secretary. I'm going to call. I'm going to resign. And we may just have to do a few little things. If I go end the turn, I'll just end the turn. And then we resign. Tenra is saying those new pictures add nicely to the immersion. They do, and I do understand why people don't like AI, but you can turn it off if you don't like it. See how there's things moving around out there? That may be animals, I'm not sure. So we should have resigned. No, why didn't we resign? Oh, hang on, I didn't do it. I need to go back to the secretary again. Call, resign. Okay. Yes, resign. Sorry, I didn't do that last little bit there. It's been a little while since I've played the game. If it needs an absolute decision about something, it will actually flag that and won't let you keep on playing on. I'll talk about all the stuff when we get there. You've resigned. Okay, dismiss all that stuff. So we're sort of still in here, but we now get to see everything around on the actual map itself. So I can sort of zoom out, and we can start to see the various factions that will then sort of be around the place. So when we start to click on different things in through here, if I go into the government, this is a scavenger government. So again, they're going to be aggressive. That's probably going to be the same group. They're ferals. These are sort of like mutants or demi-mutants in through this other side. You can sort of see he's like... no, actually, ferals are... Yeah, no, they are mutants. They're sort of low-level mutants. Back in through here, actually, in fact, I'll just zoom in a little bit, hitting through this other side. These are merchanteers. These essentially are traders, which ultimately can be beneficial if you make friends with them. But they don't actually have a... like, if I press the number 1 key... You can turn things off. This one here, the ferals here actually live in a... these are religious fanatics back in this particular zone. There's different zones everywhere. So we've got religious fanatics down through here. These usually become fairly aggressive with what they end up doing. But they've got a town. The confeds, these are Confederates. And so these essentially are... these ultimately are sort of like militant farmers. These actually are ones that you could quite easily... use diplomacy with, so that's actually not bad to sort of find them on this sort of map. And this one through here again is the scavengers down through there. So you can see if I turn this one off, there's different cities down through this other side. But then there'll still be other groups without cities. And if I just go and press number 1, sort of probably find these will be non-aligned forces back out this way. These will be a major faction, I would guess. If we have a quick look and see, this is a militarist major faction. They're friendly with us at this stage, even though they don't really know where they actually are. So we've got a military faction in through there. There's scavenger faction down this way, just a minor regime, another group of scavengers. Scavengers think of Mad Max, I guess, a Mad Max type situation. These are warmongers, which is a minor faction. Again, they're going to be aggressive. And if you're new to the game, there's a group of farmers. So if they manage to survive somehow by the time you meet them, these will be more receptive to diplomacy than anything else. Actually, what I'm going to do is just going to change my... oops, hang on. I can't do it. Just try to change my where my head is. Yeah, I can just see it underneath there. That should be about right, I think. This game, there's... yep, that's fine. Actually, I can make it go down just slightly. Just bear with me, guys. Okay, that is the perfect spot to be in this game. It's the only free spot on the interface that actually isn't used. But anyway, you get the idea. There's different groups all over the place. This is a slaver minor regime. Again, they're going to be aggressive. This is another of the militarist major regime. Again, friendly at this stage. This is our regime. So this one, even though we did ask for it to push the majors away, it's pretty close. And then we've got slaver faction in the top through here. What else have we got down this way? Non-aligned forces. So anyway, you end up with a whole lot of different sorts of groups back out and around. Roaders. Actually, these are the Mad Max faction, essentially, where they're just, if I press number 1 there, you won't find any actual city. They just live in the wilds. So again, they're not the greatest ones to have around. There's the Mercanteers again. Anyway, it's a more aggressive world when you actually start to come and play the game. So the actual the AI factions, the minors and the majors, will tend to be more aggressive the more inhospitable the actual terrain actually is. So let's just go back out. We'll quit the game. We'll start a new game. Right, so let's just go and I'll show you a Siwa class, and these tend to be more friendly by the time you actually start to play the game, which is why it's a good choice. So if I just go to Siwa, continue, just put us in the game now. Mars Union. Okay, this is the Adeptus Mechanicus. You don't have anything as wildly different as that. It's sort of, well, this one here, we've got trees, we've got grass, people are breathing. So I like the contrast of sort of showing, between an inhospitable world and a more hospitable world in through here. This is a different sort of collective now. This is, the first one was democracy. This one is actually more sort of like, not autocracy. This will be a technocracy. This is just the way that this one sort of does work. It's going to have the portraits of the actual leaders that we actually have in the game, which again is pretty cool the way it does work. Let's go call the secretary, resign. Yes, resign. Okay, we'll just go and do that. And we'll end our turn here. Okay, so Tuna is saying the only thing I need is a ratio slider during planet creation for land. Yes, that sort of stuff would be super helpful, very, very helpful. So anyway, this is now round 2. So people are still declaring war. It's still hard. It's still a bloody hard game. Resigned. Okay, so now when we sort of have a look at the actual factions around the place, we should find, there's going to be things like aliens. So we've got like an alien group in through this other side. There may be sentient aliens for all we know on this particular world. In this case here, what have we got? Farmers. So these, again, this little group down here would be more receptive. You're going to have like different sorts of terrain as well. Like we've got forests, we've got all sorts of different bits and pieces back and through this other side as well. These are all different non-aligned forces, but with different aliens down this other side. So look over here. Republicans, again, they're going to be, the Confeds and the Republicans tend to be sort of like, you can deal with both of them, and these are friendly. So the Republicans are going to be sort of like a friendly faction. Guardians have declared war against us. So these are more militaristic. This particular group is this is a major regime Republican group. So they're sort of they're wanting to form a republic. They have a republic. That's what they do. Warmongers. Okay, so in this particular one, we started off with warmongers on either side of us, which is actually unusual for this one. You do tend to find this one here is Republican again. So you're getting more friendly mages, but you're also getting more friendly, usually more friendly minor factions as well. What's this one out through here? Farmers again. Warmongers are there. There's a lot of warmongers. Again, it's sort of like just it is semi-randomized, but a lot of it has to do with the with just how another group of farmers. So you can see there's a lot more farmers on this world than pretty much anything else. There may be aliens. Just looking to see if there's any sentient aliens. Farmers over there again as well. Confeds down this way. Again, these you can deal with these. They're certainly going to be open to diplomacy. Okay, so now there was something else I was just going to have a quick look at before we sort of move on and start our actual game. What was it? There was something else I just needed to think. I thought that I just needed to sort of try to cover. Anyway, let's just quit back out. So we're going to start our game. I think what I will do is actually I'll either play the Morgana game where we end up with Oases, which I do enjoy. I always enjoy that game, no matter what. But I always like the idea of going unclassified as well, where you just don't know what you're going to get. And so we can end up with all sorts of... Oh, that's right. I was going to show, if you are wanting, and this is quite a popular mod, and I made this mod. So it's actually in an area where there's no workshop for the game. But if you are wanting to see the icons that I used for terrain, which is certainly helpful, just go to ko-fi.com /Daz Tactic, and it's free, completely free. So just go into here. All my mods live in this particular location, so you can buy me a cup of coffee if you feel like it, but you don't have to. Don't feel obliged to. It's just a convenient way for me to sort of start to store different things in the shop here. So I use the shop for mods, of different games. So we've got, for example, as we come back down, we've got the, these are in through here, Shadow Empire Terrain Icons mod. If you are using Roya's terrain mod as well, you can use this mod, which I worked in with Mark to actually, to sort of, so we could create the same sort of icons in his mod as well. And so there's this one here if you're using his. There's this one here if you're using just the base game. And so you can actually just come straight across into here. It's completely free. It does give you these little icons showing you where mountains are, where hills are, where forest is, etc., which makes the planning the combat and the warfare aspect a lot easier. I wish it was actually part of the base game, but it's not. You can see it's quite popular. Like nearly 2,500 of these have been downloaded, sold for $0. So you just pop a 0 in there, and then just get it now, and you'll then be able to just download it. And then of course there's if you got Mark Roya's one, it's this one here. Mark Roya did a really good job. He made it more pronounced. I still personally prefer the base game because it's more muted, and so it's easier to see your units on it. But a lot of people really like this because the world feels more livable, like a real actual world. So by all means, you can sort of grab that one through there as well. And so this is more popular. It's just over 3,000 of these have been downloaded. So either just pop a 0 in there, get it now, and then you'll actually just follow the instructions. It's sort of it's pretty simple. You do have to replace the actual stuff though. So Sick is saying I like this mod. I think it's essential, to be honest, and I'm not just saying that because I made it. It's for me. I can't play the game without that mod running because I like to see what the terrain is that I'm dealing with, because it impacts you. Everything you do is impacted, or everything to do with combat is impacted by terrain massively. Hi orangutans, how you going? So if you charged $1,000, you'd be a millionaire. Yeah, but no one would buy it. So it's 0 is the price. Hi Vegan, how you going? So anyway, let's just keep it going. So we've got the so there's been different versions of these. I haven't had a look to see if I need to update this. I did actually a few months ago, and I think I'm still okay with everything. I don't think there's anything that's been changed in the base game that I need to address. Last time I had a look, the base game replacements that I've actually built for these actually still work. Anyway, that's all those. So we either go unclassified, I think, or we go to Morgana. Morgana will still give us a dangerous world. It's still a bit of a Mad Max type world, but there is actually some water around on it. So it's a desert world with some greenery. I always really like this one. Let's just go and play the Morgana class. Again, the history class, you've got all these different things. Just spread out is the only one that I do recommend of all of these. a lot of these, you can play it different ways. Like if you are new to the game, so Robinson Crusoe, by a fluke of chance, human-played regimes are the only surviving majors on your planet. With Nemesis selected, there will be one AI major regime added. So you can actually put Robinson Crusoe on and Nemesis to end up with one. The AI will be much more developed than you are, so just be aware of that. But you can actually play it where you're the only one on the planet, and you then just have miners to take care of. I'm not sure how that works with Victory. I would have assumed that would have actually. I think for multiplayer that would be good, but I don't know about for playing this one with single player. I've never actually clicked it on. I mean, we can see what happens and just see if we get a win straight away. Let's just see what actually happens here. Is this the fastest way to get a victory in this game? Who knows? Okay, Orangutans is saying some very nice words there. Thank you, Orangutans. Saying, I think your mods are cool and always add something thoughtful and useful to games that you target. Thank you. I actually, I don't make them frivolously. I always make them for games that I enjoy, and I always make them to help me. So there's stuff that I want to play or to change in a game. I try not to change the base game. I just try to change usually the look of what's happening. Customize. I'll just go, because this is just going to be a test to see actually what we end up with. Do we get a victory straight away? See how this one here, we've got basic grasses, no trees, but we're still in spacesuits. So in this case, the atmosphere is not good enough. You see the colors are a bit different as well. I don't know how that is impacted. And again, this is a democracy that we happen to sort of end up picking up in through here. To do with discipline. Okay, it looks like we can play this. It looks like we don't actually have. Looks like we can play with no other factions. That seems sort of weird. Anyway, let's just go and resign here for again, just so you can sort of see what a Morgana class world is like. Click on this one and resign. And we'll run it one turn. Okay, so who have we got now in this particular one? So in this Morgana class, what you'll find is that a lot of it will be desert or desolate. In this case, it actually has actually formed major forests. The deserts are nowhere near as pronounced as what they would normally be, which is interesting. There's only little deserts in here. But what this one gives you is lakes. And it's very important to get access to water in the game, which I'll talk about. I think we will play one of these. These will often be more desolate than what we're seeing through here. So in this case, we are looking at pretty major, trees and shrubs, etc. So there are light forests everywhere. There's no heavy forest, which has got like 2 trees. You're not seeing heavy forest anywhere. So it's just lightly sort of scrub type territory. What have we got in here? This is. That's actually one of ours. So we shouldn't see any majors in here. This may be a good way for new people to play the game, to be honest. Religious fanatics, back it this way again. They can turn on you. You don't really know what you're going to get with them. Guardians, again, relatively friendly. Farmers, friendly. These are arachnids, which is aggressive, sort of. Arachnids in the game are interesting. These are not aliens, technically. What they are is that they are basically beasts of burden that have been brought to the world back in the day, like say thousands of years previously when it was first settled, and they've sort of gone off and become rogues. But they're aggressive. So they're sort of like the arachnids that they brought to the world as beasts of burden, the humans brought to the world as beasts of burden, were sort of like, as I say, sort of like they were used for for dragging things around, just for helping, almost sort of like I guess like cattle and stuff like this. They're not ever used for food. But these have gone off, and after the Dissolution War, have actually now sort of found themselves in herds, but they can become aggressive, and these are dangerous. So, but they're not native to the world. These things here are native to the world. This is non-aligned forces. This is a bioctopus, for whatever that is, and these are randomly generated on the world. There's another group of aliens that are, from the world itself. More farmers back out through here. So you can see this is not unfriendly. This one here does have like a lot of aliens. We've got non-aligned forces back out this way. This is another group. This is surviving AI. So again, after the actual dissolution war, there's different walkers that have actually now sort of got together, and these are AI controlled. And so the AI in these instances are like a whole other threat as well. They're not expansionist. But they are opportunistic, and so these guys here control all of this whole lake. So they control this lake territory. So we'd have to be careful of them. These, if I press number 1, they will be centered around a special location. So one of these, in this case, it's be one of these ones in through here. So they'll always have a special location as their starting point. Similarly with the arachnids, if we go back and find them again, where were they? They were up this way. If we just press number 1, we'll find a special location underneath there, but it won't be a city. So anyway, that's sort of where we end up. So this is sort of what we can expect to sort of find. More arachnids there. This is, again, this is sort of randomized with the way it does sort of work. A lot of non-aligned forces. Yeah, anyway. In this case, there's a hell of a lot of aliens on the world. And some relatively friendly groups, but no major factions. That's interesting, actually. It's sort of, I thought that the game that'd have to be the end of the game. I've never played it with that way before. So anyway, let's just go back to and quit the game. Let's now start our actual game. So we'll now go through the incredible planetary creation of this game. So yeah, Tenry is saying Fallout bugs, and good evening there, Dragster. Leo is saying, and the arachnids evolve too now, eventually gaining a queen. Oh, yes. Yeah, there's a lot of changes that have come into the game. So that the structure of society changes now over the course of what you then end up doing. They should morph into a crisis, yeah, which is very, very interesting. Yeah, there'll be a crisis if you can't contain them, says Leo. Actually now, sorry, I've just seen that Stream Elements has put up a link to my normal channel, to my main channel. I will actually sticky it, so because these sort of long form live streams. Sorry guys, I'm just going to go and add in live YouTube content. Sorry, just bear with me, guys, and YouTube.com. So if you are wanting to, if you're watching this on, I'm just putting this on Twitch, but if I'll just pop this in there, and I will sticky this particular one. I think I can do that in here. I'll pin it just so it's there. So if you are watching this one, these long form live streams will end up living at that new location. So that's sort of something that I'm not expecting that there'll be very many people watching on that one. We can have a quick look and see. Yep, we've got nine views, 2 concurrent views there. That's fine. But if you are watching, please think about subscribing there, because this is to try to sort of protect the algorithm of my main channel and also to have a place for these sorts of long format stuff. Why is it separated? Was it affecting the metrics? Very, very much so. Very much so. It has crushed the live streams over the last few years. Have absolutely crushed the algorithm on my main channel, and I want to sort of try to resurrect it. And I'll still do some live streams to the main channel if they're just like one-off type things, or maybe even sort of like 2-episode type games. But anything long format will be on this new channel. So it was. Yeah, I'll watch on both. This is sick. It's the subscriptions that I need at this stage on that other channel, because it's not monetized, so I don't make any money out of the YouTube side of things at all, which is okay. I mean, it is a hobby after all, but it's but I am wanting that to sort of come good. So yeah, it was just the live streams were absolutely crushing the algorithm. They were killing it off. Every time I did a long, it was okay doing one-off videos, but doing doing a series like the Age of Wonder series that I've been doing, even that's really killing it. I'm going to continue that one on, but I'll probably end up hiding that whole series except for the very first episode, and then try to string them together. So I have to manage my YouTube channel better, which I don't like doing. I sort of like to just have everything automated. Anyway, let's go and play this Morgana class again, so we don't know exactly what we're going to be getting. I'm going to turn off Robinson Crusoe. We will actually have the major factions back in there. We will have them spread out. So now we'll go through and we'll do detailed planet generation. We'll go through the whole thing. Fog of War, I do like to have no map, otherwise complete Fog of War. And a lot of people like to play complete Fog of War just so you don't see anything. You have to actually discover it, which is, for a game, is good, but it's not realistic for an actual planet. So I think that you would know the layout of where things actually are, not so much where the cities are, although I think you'd even know that as well. But if you'd know the topology, you'd be able to find maps, so there would be that. So for me, it's more immersive to have no map, otherwise complete. Not that I mind it not being there, but it allows, I don't mind it. I know that other players prefer it off. We'll start with just one zone. We'll start with 2 armies. It's a bit of an accelerated start. The AI will also get more armies as well, but it usually allows you to expand a bit faster by having 2 armies. And the politics difficulty level, I'm just going to go on regular. This is the Republica DLC, essentially, that's coming back through. Story modes I'll keep turned off. This was sort of early in the game. The development technology levels, I find that the sweet spot here is tech level 4. Now, the way that this one works, if you're new to the game, tech level 3, 4, and 5 don't relate to various levels in a normal tech tree. What they are, it's the number of techs that you start with. Now, at tech level 3, you start with a square of whatever the number is. So you start with 9 tech levels here. If you do tech level 3, you're going to need to get energy up as fast as you possibly can, and that can be difficult. So just be aware. Starting at tech level 3 with only 9 techs means that you will have to. I wonder if I should show that. Play it that way, just so we actually have a bit of a crisis right at the start in terms of what we have to try to build. It's hard enough anyway. Tech level 4 gives you 16, and this one sort of gives you you still have to sort of do research, but all the critical research is done, and so you don't have to find things on that particular one. I'm really torn as to whether to start with tech level 3 or not. Yeah, let's go back and do that way. That way we have to. I can then go through what's important to us bit by bit. Okay, so Orangutan saying, don't forget to update the main YouTube page, let people know, because you get quite a few people who like to watch the live YouTube streams. Yes, I'm going to be doing a summary, maybe in a few days' time. I'll do a summary of what's actually happened. Just let people know that this content is now living over here. Hi, Barzi, how you going? Saying, have you had the AI take over in any games yet? It's like predicting the future. I just and play for me. I haven't actually done that. I don't know if you can you? Can you set the AI up to just play the game? I'm not sure. If you can, that would be interesting. Anyway, we've got Air Forces enabled. I'll say yes. Now, sometimes these just aren't viable on a planet. We'll find it out pretty quickly. And Advanced Politics, this again is the Republica DLC. So we are going to be playing with that one. Development speed is just going to be normal. This is actually how fast you research. The organisation level is only the Supreme Command Council. Now, you may be tempted, if you're new, to go and I'll just grab all the councils right from the very, very start. This is not what you want to be doing. It's a sort of like, when you're playing the game, you think of it like you've either got a sniper rifle, which is the only Supreme Command Council, or a shotgun, where you're shooting everything, but in a very, very short range. When you go to the all 8 councils, you end up with a lot of stuff. You're going to be hitting a lot of things you don't want to be hitting, and you're not going to be hitting the stuff you need to be hitting at long range. So I always prefer the sniper approach of just having one council at the start, and then building in what I want as I need it. So this is, and sometimes I'll actually, when it's sort of suggested I bring one in, I'll often, well not often, but sometimes I'll sort of decide that I don't need anything at that stage. The reason for this is that the secret to the game, the core of what you're trying to do in the game, is to harness and make use of what's called bureaucratic points. And the game does a very, very poor job of explaining this. But that is if you distill it down to pure game mechanics, the game is getting bureaucratic points and making sense of them. For every council that you have to then divide up those bureaucratic points amongst the different councils. And so when you start with only one and then you bring in the next one that you need, it means that the limited bureaucratic points that you have are spent exactly where you want to use them. Whereas if you do it the other way with all 8 councils, it's spread everywhere, which means that it's very ineffective in terms of trying to do it. I hope that explains why we start off this way. It's a better way to start than all 8 councils. But it's the bureaucratic. I'll talk a bit about the bureaucratic points, but that is, and it's at the game's absolute core. It's all about the bureaucratic points. It's everything you do, every decision you make, is how do I get more bureaucratic points and how do I spend them better. It's pretty much it. It's a simple game. It's a simple game, guys. That's all you have to do. So, Chandra is saying, I don't like tech level 3. It forces you to play in a certain way in order to prevent economic catastrophe. Doing it once may be a challenge, sure, but it gets old. Yeah, you are right. Let's just go straight to 4. Like again, if I was playing as a new player, 4 would be where I'd start, not 3. I think by default, the game starts at 3. Don't start there. Start at 4. And maybe I can just show when we get in there what you miss out on and what 4 gives you and what 3 doesn't. 5, you end up with a lot of stuff, which, that's like 4 is a nice spot to start with, I think. Difficulty level, again, this is a hard game. I'm going to play on just regular because the game is much harder now than what it was before. So hard is really hard. Regular is sort of like hard now, and beginner is normal. So beginner is not easy. So expect if you're new to the game, you're going to struggle on beginner. So if this is your first game, play on beginner, get used to the game, and you will lose some. Believe me, a beginner is not easy. And I'm just going to disable the epochs in this case, just to sort of make it so we don't have to sort of think about what we're doing through there. You also have mid-core logistics and also easier logistics, which sort of doubles the logistics, which is also something that new players end up still not bothering with the story modules. No, I'm not going to worry about them. It just adds content, which we don't need. It's complex enough. The epochs as well don't really add a lot. They do give you more benefits than not, but I will just keep them turned off just so we've got like a pure run. The epochs, if you are new to the game, keep them turned on. Like they do create sort of mini crises, but they also provide you with special cards. And the game is very much card driven with different things that you then pick up through, through turn by turn. So Barzi is in saying my current game is on turn about 300 plus and it's been going on for over a month. It's hard but epic. Yeah, no, it's an incredible game. Incredible. So anyway, we'll play on regular. We'll disable the epochs. We're going to tech level 4. We've got air forces. We're not playing with the Oceania DLC. We've got advanced politics. So we are playing with Republica, which is very, very cool. Let's just go continue. So now we actually build the planet. Now, every little thing here is going to make sense in the sense of it actually being like realism. So the realism of this one has been extremely well researched. So a planet with a slightly eccentric and extremely slow orbit around a yellow-white F5 star. So this is nearly double the distance that Earth is from our moon, for example. And so we're going to end up with, and because of that, like it's an F5 star, which makes it sort of like more hot than our with a G2 star. The sun is a G2 star. So it sort of goes through a whole range of different classifications, from sort of like blue and white being the hottest of the stars, but they burn out quickly, out down into the red stars, which actually end up sort of having the longest life and are the most likely to actually have life. The hotter they burn, the more towards the white and blue that a star goes, the less time there will be. You can see the planetary age here is 1.7 billion years. That's not really enough to create sentient life. You sort of need over 2 billion years for that to sort of happen in this game. I might re-roll a couple of these interesting to see what actually does happen. So it's a hotter star than normal. It's burning out faster, which is why we've got a small planetary age in through here. We played on a small to medium map size, which gives us the actual hex dimensions down through that side there. This is a bit randomized. The gravity is like 0.5 gravity of Earth, so 0.47. This impacts what can happen with aircraft, for example. So that does have a bit of a bearing on what's going on. This is the average temperature. Now, at 0%, the Earth's average temperature is 15 degrees Celsius, or centigrade, whichever you prefer. In this case, it's 0, so it's colder than Earth in this case. So we're going to end up with sort of more ice sheets and stuff like that. If there is sort of any sort of rainfall, that will then form like ice and snow, and possibly in the poles. There may be like a strip through the middle of the map that is actually that is temperate. Like, you can see here the actual tilt. This will then dictate where there will be heat, enough to get over the 0 degrees. This is the average temperature for the whole planet. So with the temperature there will be a more temperate zone through the middle of this particular world. Solar irradiance is fairly high because it's a bright star. We're getting about 1,200 watts per meter squared, which is good. Like, that's actually fine for solar panels. That's actually fine. Planetary age, again, this dictates a lot to do with what life can be created. It's still enough time for life to be there, but it's unlikely that you'll end up with sentient life. So, and the heavy elements are really important. This is the most important part of this particular page, is if you've got 180%, it means mining is going to be very, very viable on this planet. So this is something I look at almost immediately to think, am I happy with that one? I'm actually happy with this world, to be honest. This is quite an interesting one, just simply because we'd end up with sort of like snow and ice potentially around the poles, and it would come a fair way down just because of how cold the planet is. But let's just go and re-roll and see what we get. This one's the opposite. This one is actually a G0 star, so very similar to where we are. It's 0.86 in through this other side, but it's very, very hot. The solar irradiance is extremely high, which means that solar panels are going to work very, very well. There's less of a tilt, so there won't be any freestanding ice or snow anywhere. It'll all be water. The planetary age is slightly more than what it was previously, and the heavy elements are still pretty good. Let's just do it one more time, and then if I'm not happy with it, I'll then just keep on re-rolling. This one here is an F5 star again, 1.4 astronomical units away from the actual, is where it actually is, only a 10 degree tilt, 42 degrees, so this is a hot one again, 0.4 G, very high solar irradiance, 2.1 billion years. This is good enough for life. Map size, you can see this is just tweaking and changing slightly each time. By the way, underneath here is the actual planet as we see it. So it starts off, I can sort of zoom out and we can sort of see that is the actual, this is the actual planet that's going to be forming underneath where we are. Let's just go and click on random again. I can also have mini on just to sort of see the actual planet of where things actually are, but we'll just go back to random. So in this case, I'm happy with this one. It's going to be a hot planet, so we'll just start there. So this temperature is extreme. So it's going to be there should be plant life here, but there probably won't be. It's going to be really, really hot. So we'll just go continue. So this is planetology. Now we have geology. So this is a desert planet without surface water. The planet will have a real but modest atmosphere, so 534 millibars. Now, remember that the gravity of the previous, if I go to the previous step and look at planetology, we have a gravity here of 0.4 G. If we go to the current step, this is basically 0.53 bar, which means that the actual air pressure is higher than the gravity component. So on Earth, at sea level, it's 1 bar pressure and it's 1 gravity. So for us to sort of have our aircraft here on Earth, we're dealing with one-on-one. In this case, we've got better compression of the air pressure at sea level on this planet than the gravity. So this makes makes the aircraft already viable, very, very viable. And quite often you'll see that related to the wind speed. Now, wind speed also pushes the weather patterns around on the actual planet itself. So we'll see that coming as things develop. Now, in this case, the highest mountain stands 5 kilometers tall, so a little bit less than what we have on Earth. There's only 10% mountainous, which is actually okay. If I go back and just click on random, I can sort of see the layout of where things actually are. And again, with that mod that I've got, I can sort of see that there's like a lines of hills. There's going to be like pockets. There should be choke points between mountains for what's going on. Now what we see through here is we've got some volcanoes back in through this other side, and then we've got like the numbers that we see through here. The 0 is actually water, which we're not going to be seeing much of at all. So there's a low point there with a swamp. That's the only sort of thing that we actually see. There should be more water ultimately, but anyway, that's sort of where we'll see what actually ends up happening with this one. I don't want it to be just a desert world. We definitely want those oases that will come back in. But the black number is the height above sea level that you end up getting. So as we sort of come across from this is still fairly high, to be honest, 300 meters above sea level, and then going up into the hills. So we've got a 3 kilometer high mountain there, 2.5 kilometer high mountain that side. Not that the heights mean much, but what they do for this planet generation is it picks up, and the weather patterns with the winds and things will actually then form themselves around. So again, just the modeling of how things have been created in this game is just phenomenal. So it's stuff that you don't even sort of realize. Anyway, so we've got 90% plains, 10% mountainous, and then depending on how slowly it rotates around the actual if I go back to planetology through here, the spin is 13 hours, so it's got a high spin, which often means that when it spins, a day is only 13 hours on this particular planet. That often means that it pushes off all of the atmosphere. So it's usually the opposite of what we ended up with in this situation. So I'm not sure what in terms of a year for this particular one. We can see it on the current step. This is the way that this one actually then goes and works. Is this has got the exact. This is 1 year as well, like what we have on Earth, 12 months that's coming back through. And so the way it works with the seasons is that these are 2 month seasons. And so if this was Earth, we'd have exactly the same layout. Winter, early spring, late spring, summer, early fall, late fall is the same sort of deal that we actually have on Earth. So if you see 6, it means there's 12 months. Some of them can be really, really spread out, where you end up with lots and lots of different areas in through here. But in this case, it's all sort of fairly cool. We see there the temperature is actually pretty good around the Arctic in through here all year round. And even the Antarctic is quite nice. So the poles are where to live. The tropic areas are very, very hot. So extreme heat is your average temperatures back and through there again as well. These vary, but there'll be no ice, freestanding ice on this world. The wind speed showing the 11 meters per second is because the bar pressure is greater than the gravity, and so it sort of allows for winds to whip up. So that's the geology. We'll just go continue, and again I can sort of re-roll this one again to try to sort of get like different bar pressure, but it's not going to change that much. So now we start to sort of see the actual biosphere. So this one then sort of goes through what's actually happening through this other side. So nearly 2 billion years ago, when this planet started the process of abiogenesis. Currently, the planet has complex life forms with skeletons. Types of species include protocellular organisms, bacteria, algae, amoeba, blah blah blah. And so we've got some vascular plants. You can see a little bit through there. It's mainly going to be desert. But there is actually the top of the evolutionary life form is the gastroball. So this is a land-dwelling, large 3-meter carnivore. It resembles a blather analogue. I don't know what a blather is. Its chemistry is hydrogen fluoride carbon-based, and it is oxygen-breathing. So this one here is going to go through what the atmosphere is made up of. So we've got sodium dioxide. Is that sulfur dioxide? I'm just trying to think. I think that's sulfur dioxide. I think this is sulfuric acid. Basically, is what the rain would be. So very inhospitable back and through this other side. I can keep on re-rolling to see if we get end up with the sentience, etc., etc. But you can see that the atmosphere is insidious for humans. The xenobiological hazard is deadly. The atmospheric farming hazard is toxic, so we can't have normal farms. Alien tissue nutrition has got zero value, so we can't eat these things. Vegetation level is up to forests, and hazard exposure level is instant death if we don't actually have a suit. So if I just go and click on random, now I'm not seeing the lakes here, and I do want to have lakes, so we may be restarting this. Yeah, it looks like the previous area we should have actually had lakes form, and it didn't actually form. So in this case, the algorithm has sort of got like little pockets of mosses. There should be at least one forest on this world. It's not very good, is it, in this sort of sense? So I don't think this world is going to work for us. If I then just go continue, I'll just sort of rattle through this. Yeah, we don't actually have any lakes, so we definitely want to have lakes. Thanks for the subscription there, Renmere. Very much appreciated. And of course, I was saying, sounds like a good vacation spot. Well, let's just go back out and quit that one. Yes, and we'll start a new game because I do want to have the water, the freestanding water. That's fairly important, just to make your life easier. So we'll do this again. Keep all the same settings. So this one is, again, I'm looking at heavy elements I'm happy with. Map size. Now, sorry, before I do that one, let's just go back out again. Sometimes the game will sort of crash if you restart too many times. One other thing I didn't really talk about before we do get started is this one here. So this will be how big the world is. So we've got from some small to normal size. So this is sort of like a bit of a randomized sort of thing. Normal to large will just increase the number of hexes that you have to play on. And large is going to be, large to supersized is going to be, very, very big. Small is easiest to play on because it means your logistics is more contained. So when you've got normal to large, etc., it just means you're going to have to think about your logistics at a certain point. Sulfur dioxide, there we go. H2SO4 is sulfuric acid. Both are rather nasty. I think that the sulfuric acid rain comes if you've got the SO2. Anyway, we'll sort of get there. But I just want to keep that on small. Go to the Morgana class. So I do want to, if I don't end up with freestanding water, I will actually, I will just re-roll that one again. Just go continue. Keep all of those what they were. This case, we've got a nice temperate 23 degrees. We've got heavy elements are still over the halfway point. This is a nice sort of easy-ish type start. Planetary age is 1.6 billion. Solar radiance is not exceptional, but it's actually okay. Gravity is 0.45. Just go continue. 13 hours spin there again as well. In this case, we're still not seeing. Now, this is actually one where the rotation around the planet, around the sun, is much, much lower. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20. 12, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. There's 20 months essentially of this one going around. So it's now sort of spread out those seasons a little bit. Arctic is frozen all the year round, as is the Antarctic, and the tropic is fairly hot. This one here, we don't have. Do we have freestanding water? Yes, only a little bit. Do I want? Is that enough? That's the. Oh no, there's some down the bottom there as well. So that's it in terms of the actual water on this particular one. I think I'll re-roll and try to get better water. This one again, the bar pressure is higher than the gravity. So we'll just go and re-roll. This one is sort of like the randomization on this one is really going to be what you're going to expect to see. We've got a few swamps out that way, bit of a lake there, hardly anything though, and a couple more over this side. Now that spins across the other side of the planet, so those lakes are very, very close. Let's just do another re-roll. Wow, nothing on this one. It's just some swamps, that's all we're actually sort of getting. So we're hardly getting anything rising to the surface. A lot more mountains in this particular one. If we just get a mini. Yeah, we've got lake. That's actually not too bad. So we've got little lakes. That's all we need. We don't need much. And then we've got the choke points, formed by the mountains around the place. This one looks pretty good. We can sort of see the mountain ranges in through here. Let's just zoom in a little bit so we can sort of start to sort of see some of the bits and pieces. So this is the the 0 is the depth like underwater, and so in this case this is how deep these lakes actually are. So 55 meters essentially is what we have. So not very deep. But that's okay. They're just oases, and this is actually where we can actually at least pick up water. All right, so that's what we end up having. So that we do actually have some water for us to fight over, and this will be important. In this case, again, quite slow through there. Very, very compressed atmosphere as well. You can see the wind speed has come up because of that. Highest mountain is higher than anything on Earth, so we'll just go continue. And so the biosphere, in this case, we've got a land-dwelling 5-meter carnivore. It resembles a mollusk analog. Its chemistry is hydrogen and carbon. This is, again, another sulfur dioxide, sodium dioxide, no, sulfur dioxide, yeah, sulfur dioxide atmosphere. Argon, a bit of oxygen, a bit of nitrogen. And I can keep on re-rolling to try to get something that's not going to be as hazard exposure. In this case is nightmarish death in this particular one. So in this case we have to be in suits the whole time. So it's a very inhospitable world. And so these are, again, if you're sort of used to Warhammer type things, these are death worlds. These are what they classify as death worlds, where there's sort of like animals and biological hazards, etc., and the environment is all there to kill you. And so it doesn't have very, very high population centres. That'll do me. I'm happy with that. So we've got the important environmental details. So there's no water salinity to speak of, no heavy metals water in the water. The soil heavy metals is high, which is good. Rain pH is not applicable, and seawater pH is not applicable because we don't actually have any seas. And so there's no rainfall. If I just go and click on this one here, it is hot, but there's no, we're getting mosses and grasslands there, some grasslands back up this way. Sometimes you will get forest. We can see there we're getting scrub in through this other side up this way, more grasslands back out this way as well. So everything is very, very open. And again, I can keep on re-rolling to try to find, like, to get different forests and things. There's a forest. That's these two areas here at this stage are the only two forests we can see on the whole map. So there are some green pockets around the place, but again, it's insidious with what's actually happening on the world. So this is these are hills where there's forest that is growing on those. So that's the only pockets of big growth that we can sort of see on the actual planet itself. That's fine where we are. So let's just go and go to the next step. So the biosphere, again, I can keep on re-rolling. Now there is actually auxiliary information that you can then pick up through here. I might just show this as well. So this is actually what's happened with the planet creation during this particular phase. So they've got the biosphere and atmosphere, which is what's just happened. So the compatibility level for the atmosphere is level 2. The xenobiology compatible level is level 3. These are not high enough for us, to be able to survive without suits, etc. And you can see this is the actual planetary biological origins. So these are the different trees of evolution on the actual planet itself. And so they've ended up with the like the Turnusort mollusk evolved 233 million years ago. It's vertebrate, so it's got bones. It's advanced, so it's got sort of like different advantages. It's got lungs, it's got jaws, it's got wings. This is a flying unit. This one here, the Doxymolt glinus, evolved 173 million years. And so we have a back look through these things. We'll see that these the solar viroid went extinct like 1.5 billion years ago. The Astroflex. So these are sorts of like the the evolutionary tract. We should be able to sort of find, if we choose the, what have we got through here? This is the solar Placophora, evolved 403 million years ago. It's vertebrate, so it's got bones, it's advanced, it's got lungs, it's got jaws, and it's got straight feet. But maybe we'll go to this Turnusort mollusk and just sort of see what this one actually, how this one developed, if we can pick it. Often there'll be, there's a Turny mollusk when extinct, so nearly 800 million years ago. This one was vertebrate with advanced lungs, but it then evolved further with jaws and wings. The Arco mollusk went extinct 273 million years ago. This is vertebrate, advanced lungs, jaws, and lizard feet. So this is the only one with actual wings. So this is currently what we have on the world. These are sort of like the major alien forces that have sort of come out with what we're sort of seeing through here. Super squid went extinct. So these are all the extinctions. So the game, again, models all this stuff, builds them up, and then evolves them into this, what we end up having through here. Now, again, it doesn't have to do that. It could just randomly choose it, but it doesn't. It actually does go through a whole process of evolution. It's just incredible what this game does. And the biosphere details in through here. And so this thing gives us the so the Doxymolt glinus is the land plants. These are going to be the best of the best amongst everything. Now this is the size. This is these are in millimeters. So this is a 23 meter tree, which is fairly high. So we've got a 23 meter tree there. This is the offense, defense, and I forget what the C stands for. Competitiveness, I think. It's just how much it's likely to grow. So this is sort of like it's going to have like thick bark, for example, but it's not going to be trying to sort of, it won't expand very far. So that's the land plants, land herbivores. We've got the solar Placophora, which is just like 3.7 meters tall. The offense and defense again is just sort of like how much it's likely to wander around. And so in this case, it's sort of wandering, like it's sort of average, I guess, with its offense and defense. So it's not going to be all that strong, but it is fairly competitive. So it will wander around. So it's going to be sort of curious and wander around with what it does have. There's 6 billion of these things on the actual planet itself. The total biomass there of 2,850. You can see there the total biomass of these particular Doxymolt glinus trees is a lot more. Then we've got the carnivores, the land carnivores. There's no water, herbivores or carnivores. So we've got the solar mollusk, which is actually the top of the thing that we saw there before. So this one is 5.5 meters tall. Offensive wise, it's quite strong. Defensive wise, it's quite weak. So we shouldn't have any real problems with this one, but it does wander around a fair bit at the competitive nature of that it's actually got. And so there's 289 million of these things around. Total biomass of 139 megatons. So it's sort of up there-ish. And then we've got that same one that we're looking at there. The flying unit is 0.6 meters. So it's about the size of a falcon or something like that. It's not going to be all that massive. Not very offensive, very, very weak defensively, but will expand a lot. So we'll sort of expand territory, but there's not very many of them. So the total biomass there, we don't even have a total specimens, but the total biomass is actually more than what we see through here. So they'll still be around. So the Turnusort mollusk is the flying unit that we sort of saw. And the solar mollusk is the big one. So these have come from a mollusk. So these possibly will have They are all vertebrate, but they will have sort of like slug tendencies, I guess, or mollusk tendencies. So anyway, that's the auxiliary information. This is sort of how that was built up. I think that it just blows my mind that these are that this is done this way. And if I re-roll, I'm going to end up with a completely different evolutionary system taking bit. But the solar mollusk is the biggest one of them, but we do actually have those others as well. Right, continue on. Now that's the biosphere. Then we actually go into colonization. So Asylum 1 was colonized in the year 6851. It received colonists for 1,140 years. So a long period of time. Like this the colonists that came here have been here for an extremely long period of time. So Jimmy James is saying, hi Daz, did you meet Vic when you recently travelled to the Netherlands? Any insider info on future DLCs? I didn't meet Vic, no. I didn't actually, I didn't sort of reach out too much. There was, when I was there for, basically I was invited out by Triumph Studios. So I sort of was spending the first half of my time with Triumph Studios, which was great, and the people around that, like Paradox and stuff like that. And then there was, they had TwitchCon on at the same time, and so it just happened. It wasn't by design, but anyway, so I met Hooded Horse, the the publishers there. So I went out of my way to sort of just go and sort of put a face to the name type thing, which is a funny story. I was actually I don't want to sort of give away information, but there was I was at the Triumph Studios thing, and Paradox is quite open. Like, Paradox is great, like with what they do. And anyway, they'd invited. They knew that one of the a couple of the guys from Hooded Horse were actually at TwitchCon, so they invited them across to actually come to this tour of Triumph Studios as well. But I didn't know that. Anyway, I was talking to the Hooded Horse guy, and he's my main contact. So I deal with him nearly every day, and I didn't realise that he was from Hooded Horse, and he was talking about TwitchCon and that Hooded Horse was going to be there. I thought, oh damn, I really wanted to eat meat, and I mentioned the guy's name, and he said, hey, that's me, So it's just funny. Just happened to sort of meet up at something completely different. But I did actually go to not to TwitchCon, but I did go to a special event that Hooded Horse had put on, which was very, very cool. But I didn't really. After that, I just spent time just looking around, to be honest. So I didn't sort of. I didn't look to see if I could catch up with Vic or anyone like that. I know Vic's quite quite protective of his environment, so I didn't sort of really want to put myself in where it make him uncomfortable at all. And I sort of really wanted to have a bit of a look around myself. Just going to grab myself a drink of water. I'm going to be right back. Anyway, let's keep on going. Also, any insider info on future DLCs? Well, not insider information, but I know that there's going to be, like with what's coming up on the plan, we should start to see some things where Oceania DLC will actually have navies, which I'm really, really hopeful that comes sooner rather than later. Anyway, colonization. So because this world has got high heavy metal contents, so Sticker saying Death is a treasure, of course. Anyway, so because it's got like a lot of, because the heavy elements were strong on this planet, if we have a bit of a look around, we'll sort of see different groups in through here that sort of then settle on the world. Can we see them clearly there? Pretty much. So this is the colonization of the world. Excuse me, sorry about my coughing. In this case, what we have is it was colonized. This is the height of the Republic. So the Republic sort of had come. There was 44.9 million, which is pretty low. So I can keep on re-rolling to get like a high number. What this one does is it sets up villages and sort of major centres. So there's and you can see down through here at this stage it's a 10% mining economy, which is actually very high percentage. Services by the end of over 1,000 years is not only 90%. And there's 14 inhabited zones, 14 states essentially across the planet. And it just goes through the history of what actually happened here. Now this history will impact our game because there'll be different things will happen, but we'll see it's mainly mining companies. So mining activity, ore processing industries. So these are the sorts of special areas we'll find dotted on the planet. These will be already established in this particular phase. Special deposits have been found attracting much more mining companies. Valuable deposits found. Planet is becoming a mining hub in the sector. Republican military has housed a sizable part of the sectorial divisions on the planet. That means we're going to find equipment, offensive equipment from this Republican military. The sector's mining ministry relocated the planet, so it becomes a more important sector planet. And again, I think in terms of Warhammer, it reminds me so much of the Warhammer lore. Several small companies have created workshops on the planet. Due to the strategic location, the key spaceport has been booming and extended with space yards. So they're building ships on this, like in space, around this particular planet. A big corporation has opened up a huge UCM drive facility on the planet, and key quantum transmission satellites now operating in the system of the planet. So we've got a very developed planet with only 44 million people living on it. Now I can re-roll to sort of try to get better population. What this does ultimately, if we have a bit of a look, and we'll sort of find that there'll be, we're seeing a few mining hub locations like that. There is a mining settlement. This here is a sort of like a standard sort of settlement, and these are villages around the place that we're sort of seeing around the actual location. Mining back and through there. Mining down this way. The service, I'll just call them services, the other ones that we sort of see through there, mining up this way. Now, certain planets, if it was a hospitable environment, we'd start to see farms and stuff being built around the place. So this is right on the lake and through this other side. Now, one of these will ultimately be our home that we start with. Mining back out this way. Now, landing is always going to be like a big-ish area. Now, because there's hardly any population, this is a sort of like an expanded city. This is the capital of the actual planet, and this is actually where landfall first happened on the actual planet. So, back in 6851, a mining company showed interest in the planet and basically sort of settled, and this was where they made landfall. And so this has become like a major city down through here. It's the only major city on the actual planet itself. So we're not going to have very many ruins after the next phase. But there are a few different locations in through here. So we always start on ruins, but the majors always start on an actual ruin somewhere. So this one again is right on a lake, which is quite nice. All right, let's go back in and see what we end up getting. So we've got the... I'll keep this. I'm sort of happy enough with that one. Then after the colonization, after the Republic has sort of gone on for like 1,000 years, we now have what's called the Dissolution War. And this is where everything collapses. So society collapses. So the Dissolution War reached Zesalium 1 in the year 7991. So war consumed all, technology fell to barbaric levels in over a century of warfare and collapse. So 100 years or more of warfare. So it reaches the planet in 7991. And we can see down through here, there's like a history sidebar. Neighbouring systems start hamstering goods and liquid energy. So the different systems start to come and sort of take what they can from the planet. Local reformist forces tried to storm the Planetary Senate. That'll be in landing, I would guess. So trade has completely stopped and has caused immediate shortages of vital spare parts and liquid energy. In 8071, the planetary government has ceased functioning. Warlords everywhere declare independence. So this is, again, all the different areas are now fragmented. An unknown and extremely virulent disease wipes out Sotina, this will be one of the so something has sort of escaped, or something from the atmosphere has got inside and wiped out like a whole town of people. An unknown and extremely virulent disease has also wiped out Sepotus. So these are going to be old locations that have now completely collapsed. These could end up with mutants, for example, that end up living there. Out of nowhere, a giant unmanned spaceship crashed on Vertunian. Because we had the orbitals, now things are crashing, and this is going to be this will then leave wreckage on the planet's surface that we can then go and try to find and sort of make use of. An abandoned automated factory complex blows up in Zasolio. Now that's the same. No, that's different again. Zasolio due to core overheating. So again, there's going to be wreckage there. And a network of delayed megamines detonates for no apparent reason following zones are hit. So Mafario and Totalaria. So we've got a this is a megamines. Now this one also these last ones cause radiation. So I won't read through all this sort of stuff in through here. But it does sort of say, keep in mind that over 276 years have passed since the Dissolution War started. So this is a long period of time. Like, that's a hell of a long period of time. So we're in a very much a dark ages by the time this sort of finishes. Over the long aftermath or dark age decades that followed, the total collapse of population levels have been so we're down to 1.21 million. And we can see down through here, this is actually still a very friendly planet. 31% farmers. Means that if we do want to play diplomatically, we can. Raiders is only 1%. This is actually fairly good. Hunters are also, you can deal with hunter groups. Scavengers not so much. So 50% of the planet is actually friendly, which is sort of interesting. It hasn't been sort of like major wars that have gone on in this particular world, but there is still a few things in through here where fallout has occurred. So if we sort of go and click on random, we'll sort of see the fallout through here, for example. Now, I don't get to see what these different territories are or were, but we've got a bit of fallout through there. You can see across the top. There is actually like different towns and things. One of these will be ours. Another town there, for example. So we'll start to sort of see these are the towns after the Dissolution War. Another town down that way. Another town out this way. Anyway, there's a few different towns around the place. Not a hell of a lot, but there's some. There's a lot down the south here. So it would be good if we can get hold of one of these. This will be a major faction down this way, long way away from anywhere. And the major faction there, that'll be a good one. This is Landing. So this is back where Landing was. So Robespierre is actually going to be the town name there for that particular location. So major faction. Major faction in here, no water. No one's got this water. And it's a minor faction up through there. Major faction down this way. So it will be one of these major factions. I don't know which one will be just yet. But getting water is going to be vitally important for us. Anyway, that's sort of like, this is where we end up now. Is there any other fallout? A little bit down this way as well. So we end up with a little bit of nuclear. It's not enough to worry us. It's sort of in low level radiation. But there will be sort of certain things happening around the place. Okay, let's go back in again. So incredibly deep planetary generation model. Just going to continue. This is the summary of what we end up having. So Zasalium 1, a planet of slightly eccentric and slow orbit around a yellow-white F5 star with a tilt of 6 degrees and a radius of 38 to 22 kilometres. Anyway, evolution started 1.5 billion years ago, blah, blah, blah. So this is what we end up having down through there. The map size is bigger than some of the other maps that we had generated before. We're still playing in the small to medium class range, so it's a bit randomised. Let's get started. So when we come in, we are setting up our first society. And in this case, we don't have any sentient. So what I'll do is I'll just go through some of the choices that you end up having. So White Mates Hold, I think we'll change the regime name to Dystopia, as in dystopia. All right, that'll be fine. So that's the regime name. High Ruler is okay. I don't mind that one. Primary colour. I'll keep these. I think this is the unit colour. These that then form whatever we have through here. We can sort of choose different symbols. I'll just keep that one there. I'm sort of happy enough with that one through there. These don't have any bearing on the actual game itself. So what we see through here is that this is what this particular image here is sort of showing is that we're setting up our society. Outside, we've got ruins. In here, we're trying to show a dream of the future. We're trying to sort of get all of the the young people and the officials that are here as well, just to sort of to kick in and sort of embrace our what we actually want to be creating. So this is actually setting up the setting up the profiles that we start with, but what they mean is they set up the direction for our governments, for everything. So we're just going to go and click on OK. Now, what I normally do is I just normally sort of play like one of the, like either A, B, or C all the way through. But I think I will play this more diplomatically. So I'll just go through what the choices are for you. So the great cities are destroyed in the Dissolution War. The remainders of humanity dispersed into the wastelands. Hiding, scavenging, fighting, trying to scrape out a living, trying to survive. The forefathers of our nation were among them. By the way, you can turn off this graphics. I didn't show that, but you can turn, if you don't like the AI-generated graphics, you can turn it off if you don't want to be playing that way. But I really think it does add a lot to the game. So they were not alone. Other survivors fleeing the destroyed cities have followed them. These others are aggressive and try to enslave our forefathers. How do they manage to pacify their enemies? Now, these choices set up what's called our profiles. And these also set up the first sort of government choices we have. We can eventually change, but this also sets up the sort of people that we end up attracting to our initial group. And so we tend to sort of stay within these profiles. So we can do different things with them. Like, so we can either go with, so they pay them a big bribe to leave, so we can actually go more pro-government with what we're sort of then going and doing. They fought at a huge cost and chased them off, so enforcement, where we become more aggressive. Or commerce, where they found a strong ally beyond their zone and helped destroy them. So we try to go with more of a trade mentality. So this first profile choice that we have is between these. Now, if I'm thinking we've got that many farmers and hunters on this world, I think that we go commerce and we look to try to establish some merchants this time. We will go merchants. So we're going to be sort of playing a mercantile bent with what we end up doing. The next profile is this is the predecessor entity of our nation managed to knit their people in tight and coherent group. How did they manage to do this? So they swore sacred oaths of loyalty. So heart is sort of like the, I guess the, it's the like the mood of the people. I guess the mind is if they wrote a book of law and enforce it strongly. This is sort of more if we're going to be trying to sort of be more technical. If we had sentient groups on the world, I would definitely be going mind, because that allows you to research fairly quickly or to actually make contact with them in a meaningful way. Or fist, where we sort of go in and become more aggressive. That have many great deeds inspire awe and loyalty. I'm going to go heart, because that sort of will give us sort of like strength of character, I guess. And then finally, this is the most important of them. And so in this case, at around the time your father was born, a rebellion took place against the leaders and principles of our nation. It was a rebellion against authoritarian and dictatorial leaders. Now, the interesting thing through here is that we end up, this is the most important of the choices. And I'm thinking I'm going to be playing democracy. Meritocracy is an interesting one. Autocracy is like basically where you have like where everything is sort of closed in, very aggressive. You rule by force of your arms. Meritocracy is only the best people are actually sort of given into the actual roles. I'm tempted to play that more so than democracy. Democracy ends up where you're at the whim of the people, and so quite often. Different people will get to do different things with democracy. Meritocracy is probably the easiest one to play, which is where essentially the place is ruled by the best people rather than by the rule of the people. So in this case, democracy is against authoritarian and dictatorial leadership. Dictatorial leadership is essentially meritocracy to a degree. This one's against corruption and lack of progress. So this one, meritocracy, is going to allow us to sort of always have the best people doing different things. And this one's against softness and indecisions of the leaders. Again, this is going to sort of push us into a direction where we end up being more aggressive. Let's go meritocracy. So we'll just go and click on that one through there. I normally randomise those just so we get to play something a bit different. So this is Dastopia round 1. We suffered no losses. Yeah, there was nothing happens the first turn. We'll start our turn in through here. Now we can see that there are trees on the planet, there's grass on the planet, but everyone's still wearing spacesuits. And there's our symbol that we actually had at the start. So the previous high leader is now buried, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. It's now up to you to lead the nation to victory. This is the Meritocracy Council. So it's not the Council of the People, and it's not a closed group of autocrats. It is still autocratic in its nature, just because it's the best of the people that are in here. So the best people are given the roles to govern society. So you are the High Ruler of Dastopia. Some subjects cheer your ascension, but not all. You'll have to hail and address the nation as soon as possible. Now we'll still actually have we'll have factions within the meritocracy system, but they won't be. It won't be voted on by the people. It will be voted on by the rest of the I guess the technocrats, essentially, which is what we actually have in through here. So it's very technocratic sort of society. So these are the first lot of cards that we end up picking up. So these are fate cards. So we received four new fate stratagems. So Boomtown, this one here is this place, the population will increase. That may be useful later on. Personal Guard, don't really need that one. Paranoia is going to give me a couple of extra fate points. So we do get an increase in fear. I might play that one early, I think, just to get the fate points up. And then we've got Earlock. So this one here is reduces the selected leader's corruption level every turn with 5 points. So if we end up with someone that's corrupt, this is where the role play aspect of the game kicks in. This one may be worth playing. So if you get someone that's extremely valuable but extremely corrupt, we have to then make sort of decisions what we do with people. These are this is your organisation factions generated 2 new stratagems. So this is going to be just sort of like just played out, just random sort of stuff, sending out spies, proposing peace. That's all we got in terms of cards, so not a hell of a lot. Now with these ones here, so the buzz on the street is that you're about to address the nation. For most of the people, the leaders of Dastopia, you are still an unknown. They need to know that what you plan to do with your newly gained power. And so the question on everyone's lips is, who will lose out with your new policies? Now, I'll try to do my best to explain how different things actually do work. The 62 that we see through here, the 71, the 69, these are also like loyalty factors. So this is the, and so we've got a secretary through here. Pete Rock is one of our secretaries. I never like to make these decisions until I've actually had a look at everything. So I'll come back to this one here. But this one's a bit of a no-brainer because we do actually have a thriving economy as our goal. Now, you'll be looking at these things. Oh, I can get enforcement up by plus 14. This one's only plus 11. What this does is we already have, if we go to the profiles, so this is our government profiles back in through here. Meritocracy, as you can see, it's at 48. We've got the ones we had to choose, democracy and autocracy, are both at 33. As one rises, once it gets to a certain level, it will then push down the next one in line. So you can see it's like a secular sort of system through here. This one here we have is the society commerce is at 48, 33 there for government and 33 there for enforcement. So that's sort of what is kicking in through that side. And this one through here we have heart, which is then sort of pushing down fist, which is then sort of going to be pushed around by mind. So they're the different profiles. We also have there's like a fourth one here, which essentially is militia, which is not militia in terms of it being like a noun of being an actual militia group. It's the militancy of your society, and so militancy here is not a negative. It's actually how sort of patriotic, I guess, the groups are, and how much they're likely to form their own militia to actually help you. So at 50, that's relatively high. That will dwindle away over the course of the game. Anyway, these are the profiles. So that one there, commerce is just going to go up by plus 11. So we're going to sort of see that one go up to, 59? So that will be where that one ends up. So we'll come back and do this one. We also have an organisation decision where we have to then choose the next organisation. I spoke before about the bureaucratic points. I'll spend a bit of time explaining what we're aiming for through here as well. And so we need to do an evaluation before we choose anything. Usually, Economic Council is where you want to go, but we'll just make sure that that is actually what we want. And then zone decisions in through here as well. So we can actually upgrade the current Kelvinskron to a big town. Can be levelled up as well. So they're the three decisions. If I go and click on decisions, I can then just move that one back down. You're in command, welcome to the new position. So we've got different decisions. This is sort of your tutorial. Just dismiss that one. If there was threats to any of the stuff that we have, we'd then have a bit of a look around it. Now, I always like to sort of see where we are on the map, so I can sort of zoom around here a little bit. We start off in the north. That means that there should be a lake over here somewhere, I think. Maybe not. Let's go to the mini-map. Lake down there. Okay, so we've got a lake. That's our closest water. We've got water over there as well. We've got nice water there. So that's where we're going to probably have to actually head off to. If there's no roads leading out, it means that there's no miners of any value next to you, which is a bit of a problem. That would be nice if there was actually a road that led off, because it would mean that there would be a good town for us to take over. Hi, Xe19. Hope you guys are doing well. So anyway, this is so that's actually the closest bit of water that we actually end up having back over here. So water is going to be an issue until we can actually get to where water actually is. So we'll start, and we've got no real clear direction that we want to be heading off. The thing I like to do in this case is to go to the strategic map and just see who's around me. Now we've got non-aligned forces. If I go and click on that one, we've got a small little area there of non-aligned forces. Now that's interesting. I don't know why that would be closed off like that. Or maybe it goes off in this direction, potentially, maybe not. But it looks like we're surrounded by different territories. Now we've got Pisonian territory back down this way, which is sort of in the direction we want to be heading. We've got Raconia territory back over this side. We've got Retherius territory running off this side, and we've got Zeminar territory running off this side. So where you see the word territory, you're always going to then find that these are going to be a themed area of very limited value for you. They could be slavers, they could be arachnids, they could be AI, they could be like, these sort of rogue AI, the walkers. They could be any of those sorts of things. They could be mutants. We just don't know. But the word territory is not your friend in this instance. So what we prefer to have found would be one of the minor factions somewhere. Now we still want to find these other minor factions, so that's not great with what we end up having through there. The next thing we want to look at is just do an evaluation of our leaders to see who we've actually got and how good they actually are. So if we just go into the management screen in through here, this will then sort of allow us to see what we actually have. We'll come back and do an analysis of all this stuff fairly soon. We'll start with leaders, and we'll just go that way. What we're looking for is the highest capability level of all the leaders. Now, we actually have our secretary as a Cap 4, capability 4 leader, which is incredibly high. So this guy is our most valuable. And we've got a number of tier 3s as well. Both the military commanders that we actually have are actually tier 3 units, which means they're wasted in this position. So they're too high up for that really to sort of be valuable. We've got the advisor is also a tier 3, which we can sort of move into different positions. And so Drake is one of the advisors. Unfortunately, our worst ones, we've got Liz Farn River back in through here as a reserve pool member, and we've also got Mindy Irving is our Supreme Command Council leader. This is a problem. She's not going to learn much. Now, she's very loyal, and this is probably why she got the job. This is actually her natural relation point. She tends towards that sort of height. Some of these other ones are a bit lower, like this one here has got like a lower natural point, but he's still starting off fairly high. So these will tend down, she'll tend up. I don't want her in that role, but I can't really do much about it, so I'm sort of stuck with her. And even our Supreme Command, like our first SHQ commander, like basically the one in command of everything, is only capability level 2, which means they're not going to be learning all that much. So as we sort of come back through, that's actually who we're dealing with right now. But having, if we have a look at some of these and just sort of go through what they do, this one does have high command skills there of 20. Intelligence is high, which is good. So even though he doesn't have the capability to be able to, so capability classes vary from level 1 to level 5. The higher the better. Level 2 and 3 are usually most common. Level 4 should be rare, and it's not sure you'll even see a level 5. It provides you with a glance with a measure of how useful this leader will be. It's sort of how much they're going to learn over time. Boland's got the cap ones in our councils. It's not good. Can we mass reshuffle with lower penalties, or can you only go one by one? Well, by playing a meritocracy, this is actually one of these interesting things. They will shuffle themselves in a meritocracy, and the meritocracy will actually push things in a different direction. Look, he's not terrible with what he has right now, so I'm going to leave him in this position. He has some skills over here. He will need to play a role over this way as well. So Archie Altair will just have to stay there. He's not even in command of his actual faction. He's playing with this sort of like this aqua blue faction. So he's a member of what do we see what faction he actually is? The Merchant Society. So the Merchant Society is this is one of the factions in the game. These are random again when they sort of come in, but they'll be sort of chosen based on the profiles that you chose at the start. When they've got a star like Drake, this advisor, this one's in charge of the Democratic Superior Party. And so what these guys want is democracy. So this is against the meritocracy. They also want commerce. So this one is going to be problematic for us over time. But he does actually have the Cap 3 in through here. And he already starts off with covert ops. And so he'll be good as a Secret Service leader. So I can leave him in there for now. He does have some skills around the place, but not a hell of a lot. It's mainly deception, endurance. Now we will sort of find his corruption is 0, so he's actually not corrupt at all, which is actually interesting. So he's reasonable, but he is pro-democracy. So when we do anti-democracy things, he and his faction will not like that. So we'll just keep them that one where he is. Unfortunately, Mindy is the leader of her faction, the Merchant Society. So she is, even though she's only Cap 1, you can see how poor she is. Her strength is weak. Her intelligence is weak. Her war score is weak. Her charisma is terrible. Her willpower is terrible. So she's just an absolute shocker. So she's a 27-year-old female. She is loyal. That's going to be the only thing. She's pro-heart, so maybe she's a good talker, maybe. Hi, Seb, how are you going? But she's an absolute shocker. So she's going to do. She's going to be having to use her skills in through here, which she doesn't have any, to actually get us those all-important bureaucratic points. So from the very start of the game, she is going to be a big, big hindrance to us. So that's a major, major problem. So she is an issue. Don't know what we'll do about her. And initially, the Supreme Command Council is a bit of a catch-all for everything. As you develop up your different councils, they become less important. But at the start, she is vitally important. We've got the reserve pool member, also just tier 1. Again, no real skills in through there as well, fairly useless. I'll probably end up just putting her in as the secretary because I'll flip the secretary back out of there. Now, unfortunately, everything we do is going to cost me these political points. So we end up having, Mindy is the one that attracts those political points. So the Supreme Command Council actually brings those in. So we're going to have low numbers of those. If we go to the secretary, who is our most capable, and you can see his number, look at the intelligence. My God, that's just incredible. That's the highest I think I've ever seen. He has incredible skills here for trade. So helps governors and stimulate trade in their zones. Also a big boon when negotiating with traders. Now, I think I want him straight away to with his intelligence. I can put him in, even though he doesn't actually have any skills with invention or technical sort of skills or science. This is where I want him. So I'll be wanting to to move him out of this position and put him into a new, into probably the economy. So we end up having him running the economy with what we end up having. And the capability just means he learns incredibly quickly. So the intelligence is going to, yes, this is going to be the stat for everyone, but especially your directors and governors. So the director here is like putting him in with science. That intelligence just means that he will learn very, very quickly what he needs to then go and do. But that's probably going to be the one that we end up getting straight away and then trying to shuffle him away. If I go and talk with him actually and give him a call and then get him to, if I relieve him, this is what I need. To give him, I'm going to need to get like a better job. It's going to be 32 political points. I've got 24 at the moment. So to move him into the next role, I've really got to try to save up as many political points as I possibly can. So I can't even move him off just yet, but we need to. So he needs to go into that is this next role. If I go to the advisor and go and call him and relieve him, this is much, much cheaper to move him off. But he doesn't have the same sort of capability that we're seeing. So as we're starting to plan what we have, I'll be definitely wanting him when we start to get our spy network up and running. But until then, I can just use him to help. And I might get him to help the Supreme Command Council because like this is, and unfortunately if I go and call and attach, that's 2 political points. So we're down to 22. Let's go and do that for now anyway. Let's just go and attach him to the director of the Supreme Command Council. So we've got different governors, we've got the different brigades and stuff like this, but if I attach him that way, his skills will then help her eventually.
Copy that.
So he can, even though they're the 2 leaders of opposing factions, so they won't get on. But anyway, let's just keep that one going there. So this one will actually possibly be a poor solution by having him help her. They're both the leaders of the opposing factions that we actually have in there. All right, now the next thing we want to be doing is, so that's the leaders. We won't look at everyone. The models, actually profiles. We spoke about profiles before. As we come up, we need to hit certain numbers to be able to then open up the possibility of getting these different cards. So if we've got meritocracy, we can ultimately get cards that will allow us to get better leaders, which is important for us. So meritocracy gives us that one. Democracy gives us, the chance to generate, recruit a civilian leader. In this case, the autocracy gives us call to power. So sow the seeds for ambition amongst the soldiers and NCOs. This case here, round up barbaric free folk and sort of have them sort of come into the city. So we're much more autocratic. We also have what's called unit feats, which allows us to attach these to different units to make the units more powerful. So the autocracy is going to ultimately end up with more powerful type groups. For meritocracy, we end up, the first one is the recruit talent. The next one we have is the Grand Convention, a rare thing. A Grand Convention assembles all your leaders together for rallies and workshops, which improves their overall skills. Now, Sev has redeemed a character. Yep, so you want to be the Cap 4. Okay, we'll do that. They used to not allow us to rename, but we can actually, I can rename them somewhere. Where was it?
Standing by for orders.
I know that there is a way to do it. Here we go, rename. Zero Petrock is going to be Sev Petrock. There we go. Yep. So we've got Sev Petrock up through this side. Sick is reading the character. I'll take the next good one. Well, it's going to be probably going to be the advisor Drake. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I do also have these two in here, which again, high intelligence there, technical. This one's got good inventor skills. This one's already halfway there. I'll put this one in charge of military invention though, so I might give you Tim Robinlight. Let's have a look at the other tier 3 while we're here. High intelligence, lots of skills, but I'll give you Tim Robinlight. So this will be sick. no, sorry, yes, 6777. Sick, and change his surname. There we are. So that's Sick X777, backing through there. And so he will then end up, when we look at the various councils, he'll end up in charge of military councils in one sense, either building models for us or building like the research for us. So profiles, back to profiles. Let's just finish off this one here. So the first three are our government forms, and we've gone with meritocracy. The next ones are enforcement, commerce, and government. And again, you can see down through here, what we need to have through here is we need to have you need a profile of at least enforcement 40 to have a chance to gain it. And so we don't actually have that. We've got 33 in through here. So I can still go and push if I'm wanting to sort of try to get these cards. In fact, this is the only one we have a choice with. At the moment, we've got commerce. I can keep on pushing commerce up. For this one, I need to be over 50. So to get a chance to get these cards and feats, I need to push commerce above 50, which I can do with with the decision that we actually have. Or I can go and choose one of the others and push these ones up above 40. So what we end up having at the moment is we have the chance every turn to make a monetary gift of 1,000 credits to a faction the chosen leader belongs to, which will sort of pay off the count, which we don't want to be doing. So that's useless to us. This is a private investment. So with a relatively small investment, we can persuade some of their capitalists to invest in this zone. So we can sort of try to get the private sector running better in an actual zone. This next one that we see lets you make an effort to show the people we mean well. So 500 credits for make an impression. Again, we don't have money at the start, so this is not really all that valuable. Let's make an effort to show the people we mean well. 2,000 credits here. Again, we don't want to be doing that. Mobilise the artisans to produce IP in their workshops, so requires 500 credits. Not all might be spent. And so again, this is going to be creating industry points. So we can sort of use that to push the production along, but it's going to cost me money. So this commerce one I need money for. And then we have a unit feat down through here. This is a scavenger team. The scavengers won't do much while embedded with troops, but until the troops manage to make a kill, then the scavengers swarm in to recuperate materials and sell them. You earn credits for most kills. So again, not super valuable. I'm actually tempted to go with one of the other ones, to be honest. If we go to bureaucracy or government, we end up with governors love to be assembled and give speeches to their local policy of their local policies to each other. That's like a governor convention. This one here is a bureaucratic push, so we'll use our clout to press our bureaucrats and scientists to deliver. And then we also then have a medical team, which will give survivability to whichever team that they're attached to. Up through here with enforcement, we end up with the militants in this zone needs to go up again. Let's boost the local militia. So we can sort of push, again, the ability for them to recruit from within their own ranks. There's no need to explain. We need funds right now. So this is emergency tax. That's useful. And then we also then have this feat in through here. Military police embeds itself with troops to make sure they don't disobey our commands. 75% of retreat result is ignored due to their intervention. You know, this is now makes my choice quite difficult because I'm not really keen on these in this early part of the game. I think I prefer to get this one here, where we can get sort of like direct benefit from it. So I think we'll come back this way. We do have a choice here to make. We'll come back and look at these in a bit more detail as we have these choices come up. This is political system where meritocracy is where we currently are. I won't go through this until we actually have a need to show it. Tech levels, this is actually why we chose tech level 4, is because we start with solar energy. Otherwise, we pretty much just start with the basics over through here with the early tech. But we do have a few different things in through here now. What we don't have is a power plant, but we do have solar energy. That then gets, the solar energy is really the most critical of the early techs to get hold of. But we will be looking for the Economic Council to sort of push some of these. The Military Council as well will be very important with the combat armour, the other different bits and pieces. See, I don't need the Economic Council as such just yet, but I still will get it. I think I'll still start that way. Military Council is useful to get the combat armour early. It's tempting. It's tempting because the political points that I've got to spend, I can actually move that leader out of that system, out of that group, and have him start to research this stuff straight away. So we can actually have him sort of working away at that and leave our secretary in place for a few turns until we actually need the Economic Council. The combat armour is very, very important that we get this. Ooh, it's a big decision now to make with what we end up having. Let's go to the models and just see how we're going with what we actually do have. Just go and click on all. Now, with your models, when you're trying to sort of look at this, these are really quite complex. Again, they're sort of like it's random, the way it sort of does work, but the skills of your leaders will then have an impact as to how these ultimately will then perform. So getting and this is the Model Design Council, it will, like for when we create new models. If we end up with really crappy stuff at the start, we may have to do that, but we don't actually have a real big use of our military right from the very, very start, other than just basic expansion. So we don't have any seeds that we want to be taking over. So we sort of don't, there's no screaming rush for us to do it. This gives me an idea of their abilities, their basic combat abilities, the cost of bringing the units in. In through here, we've got, this is the quality level, is just none at this stage. Then we can make them obsolete, low value up to high value, or elite even. And then it's got the different variants that can actually sort of be in there. So for example, the riflemen have got automatic rifles with Enviro suits. I would much prefer them to be rifles with combat armor. The Enviro suit is not very strong. Production cost is going to be sort of like the metal and the industrial points it is to create one of these particular units. So that's the actual cost in through there. This is the operational cost. So some of them will require oil, and some of them will require ammunition as well. And the ammunition can be like physical bullets. It can be energy and combat radio. I don't think I've ever used that one. I'm not sure what that actually is, to be honest. Then there's an upkeep in food. Now, certain things don't cost a hell of a lot of food, like recon buggies only take 0.3 food. That's changed, actually. That was 0.2. And the green bus trucks are also only 0.2. What this means is that you end up getting a lot. These can survive a long time outside of your supply range. So these actually sort of, they've got like 3 turns of moving around outside the supply range before they have to come back in. But they do chomp a fair bit of oil when they do this. The aircraft also chomp up oil as they go through. This is the most important next one. This one here really gives us a summary as to how good our forces actually are. And so there's actually 2 pages here, and the second page is more important than anything. So, well, actually not more important than anything. The riflemen and whirlwinds are our two infantry type units. And we can see down through here, we've got different types of designs all the way through. Now, initially, these are completely random, but not completely. They're within a range. So the structural design has got a range between 70 and 130. Actually, is that right, or 80? Yeah, 70 and 130. So it's sort of got like a fairly broad range. When we see something like this, where their basic design is or structural design through here is 82, that's poor. So this is actually not good. So these are actually going to be weaker than what we would expect to see anywhere else on the map. The machine gunners, though, are over, so they're actually slightly ahead of this particular amount. So this will make them a bit stronger with what they end up doing. Excuse me. And that should be reflected in their quality in terms of their combat ability. So we've got 25 combat ability in through there. 62 there. This one should be, it's a bit hard to say. I'll have to come back and sort of have a look at this one through here. So this one here, this is actually their combat ability through this other side. So this is against soft targets. So versus infantry, they have an attack of 60 and a defense there of 243. So they defend very, very highly. Against armored targets, they have a attack of 30 and a defense of 60. But 60 is sort of like the figure that we can sort of look at. So these should be attacking. These have got advanced machine guns. They've only got sort of like the standard combat armor. We'll just go and exit that one. If you have a look at these guys, the riflemen, see how their attack is only 37? And this is the difference between what they end up doing. They also don't defend all that well at 74. So these are pretty damn poor with their abilities. So they're like 11 off in terms of what of how they react there, and they're a fair way off there, all to do with their actual design, their structural design. So this is a poor model. So when we sort of see any riflemen, they're not all that great. So unfortunately, they sort of need to have a complete redesign to make them more viable. Aircraft is fine with what we have through there in terms of structure. The recon buggies are great, so that's actually awesome. So when we have a look at the recon buggies, we're going to be sort of seeing fairly big numbers in these attack values. And even these 49 against armor is actually okay. It's not fantastic, but these are sort of fairly cool with the way they sort of do work. I'll try to explain a little bit about how all these different things work, but anyway, in terms of so that structural design there is good. This is sort of like a completely random number that you end up getting between, as I said before, 70 and 130. Back over here, the thing we're also looking at is our light tanks. You can see there the damage that these things do is extremely high. So they're using howitzer guns, so 40mm howitzer. A howitzer is anti-infantry. So they're still actually capable of doing anti-tank type stuff, but nowhere near as strong as when they attack infantry. So getting your tanks is actually really quite important, like getting these early, particularly if they have like a high value that we sort of see in through this other side. We're not going to get to play very many turns, I don't think. I'm going to have to actually start to wind up in about half an hour. There's still a lot to explain with what's going on. I guess this is a good sort of primer into the game itself, the intricacies of the game. So we're just evaluating, do we need a model design council? The answer is not really. Base design is sort of like how, this is a random number between 70 and 100. And so 85 is the average. So this one already starts off at 88. If I go and click on this one through here, its base design is 88. So it's going to start there. As it goes through combat, it will then pick up experience. So the model itself will start to get more valuable over time until it actually hits a limit there, in which case it then wants an upgrade at that stage to get a new base design. It'll inherit what it's already got and just keep on building on and on and on from the actual model. So if we're happy with the base structural design, which I am, and then we've got this one sort of building up slowly over time, when I make an upgrade to the actual model itself, we then sort of have a new baseline for the base design if we've been able to use this model. So if we have some of these actually sort of running around, they'll pick up that base design and then we can sort of start to sort of bounce forward again. So they become more and more and more valuable over time. So it's actually very, very cool. The artillery is very poor, again with structural design. Base design is actually okay, so artillery is going to be fairly crappy with what it can then go and do. So its skills here are going to be terrible. Again, it's using a big howitzer, but not doing very much damage. These ones don't actually kill much. They tend to, they more tend to just soften targets up, ready for actual attacks. So this is air design, which we don't, if I go back to page 1, we sort of have like the various, this is actually how these things actually are sort of operating. The operational range is the important thing here. 10 is good for those. The flak gun has got like this is a firepower versus air, so it's got a fairly high sort of, if we do end up with the flak guns. The text in through here are sort of what we've actually got from technology that we've actually got researched to sort of give us anything, which will be pretty much nothing at this early stage. So in this case, it's my riflemen, my artillery are all pretty crappy. Everything else is actually okay. So I'll sort of, I'm in no screaming rush to get the models done, but I wouldn't mind getting combat armor, which means we then need a model council at that point. Right, assets. The next thing we want to look at is essentially evaluating what our income is going to be, what it looks like. So if we go back to the map, this might be the easiest way to sort of start this one. When we look at down on the left-hand side, we've had a look at profiles. In fact, let's actually, while we make these decisions, we've got the national decision back in through here was which one are we going to then be going into. So we've got economy, we've got enforcement, commerce or government. Now, even though these guys want me to do commerce, we saw from the profiles, when we have a quick look back at management again, that the profile that we're actually probably more interested in is actually enforcement initially. To get this one over 40, so you can see down through, your nation does not have this regime fee. You need a profile of at least 40 to have a chance to gain it. And then we have a random chance every turn to pick up these cards and things. So that's sort of what we're aiming for. So we're sort of pushing the what becomes available to us as we sort of do things. And we've got national pride down through here again as well. This is hold the line. Infantry forces get plus 50% to defence and minus 60% on attack. So this one here is if we're trying to sort of just hold on to what we have. We'll just get back to the map again. So in this case, we want to go enforcement.
Yes, sir.
So it's gone up by 14 points. And if we now have a quick look back again at the management screen, we now have available to us enforcement. So we now actually have, this one is now inside this particular range. So commerce is still at 48. This one's at 47 for enforcement. It just opens this one up for us. I can't remember what the 3 rounds is. I think we need to slowly build up to it before we sort of get a chance to sort of make use of it. Yeah, so it needs to have been the highest for 3. So your does not have this. So your nation does not have this regime feat. You still have 0% chance of return to gain it because the profile has only been the highest profile in the group for 0 rounds. It needs to have been the highest for 3 rounds. Sure. Yeah, actually, that's different again. I think, from memory. It's such a deep game. Now, we're going to go with Military Research Council, so we can try to get combat armour. So we don't have to go with anything else, so let's just go this way. And again, because I've got such crappy political points, it's going to cost me another 4. I wouldn't really be able to use the Secretary anyway for this Economic Council. So let's go this way and get the Military Research Council. And Zone City Upgrade. Now, this is interesting. This is a double-edged sword. And I'll try to explain what we need to look at through here. And we also want to have a bit of a look around before we actually sort of make this decision. Is if I press number 1, it just gets rid of all of the different things. So we can see everything is nicely compressed. So we've got different assets in through here. We've got like ice mining there. We've got oil. We've got mining facilities back in through this side. We've got rare metals, which you haven't started a mine for just yet. So in this case, if we just go back into this zone here, I think. That one there is just the showing the SHQ and what that's. So the SHQ is sort of looking after this Kelvin's Cron location, and so we don't need to worry about that one. But this one here is actually what we end up having. Now, when we started off with this, when we had a look at a few of the negative comments on Steam, and the person who had been trying to learn the game, the comment that was in there, was struggling with getting all of these things to make sense. And it's very, very, like he's 100% right. These actually are things where I try to use these as a bit of a rough guide rather than a hard set sort of aspect. I can see through here that at the start of the turn, not at the end, not at the end of the turn, but at the start of the turn, I have 200 industrial points to spend, and I should be generating 95 of these every turn. So that's actually what we should be getting. Back in through here, we're getting 378 metal, and we should have 273 of these coming in every turn. We're getting a little bit because of the scavenging facility back in through in the actual city itself. We've got 46 of the rare metals, and we should be getting 12 of those every turn. Now, for us to build most things, we're going to be needing to also then get some machines. So we need to get some machines coming back in. But really, we want to have a bit of a look to see, are all of these things performing the way that we want them to perform? And are they getting us where we need to be going? We also only have 474 money, like this, and this we'll sort of get a sense of how this one works. In fact, I might even show that one now, actually. If I go to my reports, this first Empire dashboard is worth looking at a lot. It gives you a lot of information. Now, I won't cover a lot of these because we're running out of time, but we'll just go through a few of them that are actually important. Right at the very, very start. You can see down there, this is the next turn's bureaucratic points. This is actually what the game is all about. We've got 146 of these coming in. At the moment, all of those are being spent. It doesn't show us there. If we go to Empire Budget, all of those are going to the Supreme Command Council. And so now what it's doing is there will be the Military Research Council coming in, so it will actually pick up 33% of those by default next turn. But initially we had 67%, 80 bureaucratic points will be coming in. It's split evenly between political power, so 40 BP going into getting the political points, or general stratagems, which is the cards. So that's actually what the Supreme Command Council is doing for us, using those bureaucratic points. This is where the level of the leader is important. The secretary is a wasted leader because they don't actually, their skill level doesn't matter. Having a tier 1 as a secretary is fine. You don't need anything good there. Other important things, income tax. We've got 20 income tax coming in. I want to get that up to at least 30 ultimately, just so I don't have to worry too much about the money every turn. The money will dwindle away fairly quickly. If we go to, these are all the different overviews that we actually have in through here. So urgent issues, if there's anything through there's no issues in this first turn. Cabinet overview, these are the different leaders again that we sort of see in the cabinet. So we've got advisors, SHQ commander and council directors. Personnel, that's not going to matter that much. Treasury cash flow. This is a very important screen. So this is sales and income tax. So you can see that Kelvin's Cron is got an economy there of 24 credits, no sales tax, income tax 20%. Revenue there is 87. So the gives us sort of like all the incomes that we end up sort of getting and all the outgoings. So when we actually have a look at this whole thing, we end up with the total in and outflow is we end up with 123 credits of revenue and 149 credits of expense. So we're going backwards by a small amount, which is important for us to be aware of that. So we do need to keep a fair amount of this going in there. There's different ways we can make money. We can make money through taxation, etc. We can also make money through trade. Now, initially, you're not going to get cheaper machines than right now. And so this is actually the traders. So, and who's trading the zone, or we can actually go to the SHQ. It's not going to matter that much. I'm just going to go with the zone in this case. So actually, zone there. I'll go with the SHQ. So, so this is just going to be going straight back into our SHQ. It doesn't really have any other real big bearing. Excuse me. There's only 3 machines available, and they cost 80 credits. That's as cheap as they're going to be. So I'm going to go and get all 3 of those. We can also buy other things if we do need them, so we can sort of go and get them, but let's go and buy those. It doesn't update this, unfortunately, which again is one of these little things in the game where I just wish it would do these little things.
Yes, sir.
Go and buy. So actually no, we've got 232. It doesn't update this. And again, I wish it would do that. So we've got 232 credits. So that's going to last us a couple of turns. Not much more than that. But we do now have 3 machines, and again, this doesn't update. We can also sell things off. Now, initially, the rare earth is not something that we need. Also, our food is going up by a fair amount. So we can sell food off. Water, we are making a little bit, but we're probably going to need the water. So I can sell the food. And again, it's going to be probably the best price right now to actually sort of go and do this stuff. I'm going to sell off as much food as what the traders will take, which will give me 324 credits. So let's go and sell that off. One of the interesting things with this, as you start to sell things off, the price comes down overall. So just be careful when you do it. Now we've got 37 rare earth metals can be sold at 878. I'm going to keep that for a couple of turns, build that up, and then we'll sell off all of those as well, just to keep on top of the money. So we now actually have, they have 891 credits available to purchase. So this is the limit of their money. If we go back to buy, we've now got 557. So we've made a little bit of money there just by selling off some of our food. So food is going to be hard on this planet. Water is going to be hard. There'll be a market for water as well. So everything has sort of now been done that way. In terms of what we're building up, I do want to keep on building this one up. I want to keep on building this one up because I can sell it. I do want this one. Now, we do actually have limits. You can see the maximum storage there is 2,326. So I could, if I wanted to, start to limit how this thing actually does work. We need as much metals as we possibly can. We need as much industrial points as we possibly can as well. So these are all important stuff. I do want to get a mine here established, but I also need to be trying to get the bureaucratic points. So all of these things allow us to then get the economy under control to then be able to build the bureaucratic points. But let's just go back in from the city itself and go to construct. And if we have a bit of a look, this is then split into agriculture, mining. I've already got a recycling facility there. I can actually improve that one. Actually, energy we're already at maximum. I'm not sure what we're getting extra there. We'll find out what it is. The recycling facility in through here, I don't want that, so I'm not going to entertain the idea of doing that one. Wind traps will then give us water, essentially, so we'll end up getting more water from wind traps if we go and build them, but it's going to be 2 machines over 2 rounds, which essentially means 4 machines. I've only got 3, so I can't do that one. This is where we can get the solar panels. Again, 2 rounds with 1 machine each round, so it's going to cost me 2. Again, it's sort of clunky the way it shows this. I think this could be presented so much better. It'll give me 50 energy essentially as the output, sort of multiplied by the watts per meter squared that we end up having. So the actual income won't be just 50. It'll be, it'll be dependent on on what it does come back through. So it could be like 55 or 60 or something like that. Industry 2. We've already got industry 1. We don't need to sort of get this one through here. Ammunition factory will be important when we can really sort of get a chance to get to it, but I don't want to do that one just yet. You can see there we've only got 378 metal to start with on this round. We need 273. This one's 500 per round, so we can't do that one anyway. Government is really important that we look at this stuff and through here. So what ideally we want is this one here with 200 bureaucratic points per round. This is our goal initially, is to build up to be able to get this particular building, and it's pretty damn cheap as long as we can get to civilization level 2. So this is going to be our main goal. I might maybe talk about that tomorrow, so we'll come back to this one. I just want to see if there's anything else we can grab really, really easily right from the very, very start. This one here, the High Command version 2, is 4 rounds, 100 and 110 of these. So we've got just enough to squeeze it out of 4 rounds. This is going to give me another 40. The upkeep there is 40 energy, and I may not have enough for that one. So that's actually where we are there. If we go back across to this location and look at construction in through here and go to mining, because it's a rare metal facility, we can actually go and do this one. This is only 20 upkeep, 2 rounds. I can afford this one. Maybe not so much with the industrial points. Again, we're looking at 195 per turn to build this one up. I've got 200 in there, so I've got enough for the first round, but then I'm only getting 95 coming in each turn. So I'm going to be a little bit under, so it's going to take 3 rounds to do it, but it's going to cost me 2 of the 3 machines, but it will give me a big, big boost in here. I think I'll start with this one. Just to sort of get things going. It also has to, which you'll sort of find, it won't show you the cost in here, but there's actually an industrial point cost to build the road into this particular location. The cheapest one is to just build a road from there to there, and so that's what it'll then go and do automatically. So I could either manually build that. It still gets added to the cost, and that comes off my industrial points. Now there was one of the things there was that it was saying. One of the errors, actually, if we go back to the Steam page, I'll just see if I can find that again in here. If we go to, this is someone that put up a comment because they just started and they really didn't understand the game. And it's a very hard game to sort of get into. Interface is nearly impossible to figure out. Yes, it is. Help is useless. It doesn't cover the things you need to know at the start of the game. Yes, I agree. Like why you can't build dirt roads or how to manage industrial points, which apparently aren't displayed anywhere. And it says also avoid unless you want to spend hours just trying to figure out how to play. There's a PDF available online, but it also ignores important information. Like, why does the game keep telling me I have no SHQ when building roads? Let's go and tackle both of these things now. So I'll do this one manually into here. So I'll try to generate the error that I think actually occurred there. So if I go into, we've got 3 different commands over through here where we actually have, like we've got essentially this is the, what is this one? This is the orders. Then we've got the, this one's the map layers, which is shows what we're here. If I press number 1, for example, it's the hide units. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, depending on what you sort of show through there. By the way, if you're new to the game, always make sure you've got this one turned on. This show this is the logistics, the operational logistics. Very, very important. And I would suggest that I just put all of these last 3 on all the time. So they're always there. Hide units, just so we can see what's going on underneath the map itself. And then the last one through here is actually the map orders mode. And so in through here we have different things we can then go and do. Construction road is here, or I can just press the R key. So I can do either one. If I go into construction of road, I then actually have different choices. So dirt roads cost 20 industrial points per hex, plus the cost to move across the terrain. It doesn't say that, but that's actually what that is. And so sealed roads allow you to go further along a road, but initially we only want dirt roads. So that's that one there, and we have rail through here. Demolishing costs 5 industrial points per hex. So if we do actually demolish roads, you don't need to do that, but you may want to do it just when you've got industrial points left over, just to clean things up. But you can do that through your road traffic signs, which we'll talk about another time. Anyway, we want dirt roads. Now, the way dirt roads work is if I start through here and then go and click here, construct roads, dirt road, it doesn't make sense because nothing is really sort of kicking on. So it's sort of, I'm in the road construction mode, but it's not actually doing anything. If I go out to here, it may sort of show, dirt road construction mode, action point penalty on hex, just conquered hex, and none of these. Actually, this one here, this is the error that he got. So dirt road construction mode, no connection to SHQ found. So this is actually the initial logistics points. A road needs to have a connection to the SHQ. The SHQ is right here in the capital at the start. Maybe I'll just show that as well. Just go back to inspect mode. So as I click through this particular group through here, you'll find that the SHQ, this is the SHQ right there. If I click it a second time, it should come to the top. You need to have a road connection to this, or a logistics connection to this, to be able to then build anything. So to build a road, you can't start away from there. That's why that error was coming up. So I love I love seeing these sorts of little problems that people have, because it's easy once you know, but once you start playing the game, you forget that it's aren't intuitive. It's not intuitive to do this stuff. So construction of road, dirt road. We see how now I'm getting, whoops, hang on, I just clicked the wrong thing. So if I go back to dirt road and through here, I've got road construction. I've got the S1 through this other side, and now I'm getting an arrow, which is sort of showing different things. And you'll see down through there, it's got a dirt road construction cost. If I move out to these ruins, it's going to be 48. If I move to there, it's going to be 24. It said 20. Why is it 24? So let's go and talk about this one as an example. If I go and right click on different, if I just press escape for a second and just go and start here, it's going to be the same thing. It doesn't rebuild the road over this way. If I now go and press on R or construct road, dirt road, I've still got my connection back here. So it's still 24 points to build that particular one. It's the cost of what's there as well. So if we have a look and see, again, if I just go back and press escape, press R again, 20 IP per hex, but it's costing me 24. So why is that? Let's just abort for a second. If I hover over this particular hex in through here and have a look at the rocky plains, it will then sort of show down through this other side at the bottom, I think, is the road construction is 12 for that one. So we've got road construction of 12 there. And this one here is also a rocky terrain. So rocky plains in through here, road construction of 12. 12 plus 12 is 24. So to build across the gap is the cost from each location. If I build a road that goes, and I don't actually have a clean road through here, but let's just say we wanted to build a road into the mountains or even into the hills. This is completely different. So low mountains, low mountains in through here, if I hover over, road construction cost is 160. So if it goes, let's just do this as a mental exercise. Kevin's crawling through here is ruins. The ruins have got a road construction cost of 12. It then goes into a rocky plain. We know that that's 12 as well. So we're up to 24. And then to go into the low mountains is 160. So to build a road out to there is going to be 184 is what we anticipate. If I go and click there, press R, dirt road. So there's our 24. Actually, it's even more. It's 344. So that's why is it 344? I think it has to sort of almost double the cost there of what it's doing. So we can't afford to go into a hill is really expensive. But to go into this little location is only 24. Now it's going to cost me, even if I just go and automatically, I'll just go and click on that one. Sorry, I should have right clicked. Just going to press R, dirt road, right click. So we now actually have that one. I can then just keep on building more roads if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So the now, I don't think we saw the industrial points sort of come off at that stage. So these don't tend to change. Actually, it did come down. Actually, that one did show the industrial points being spent. This is really tricky when you start to build things. Let's go and build a construction here. So we're just going to construct. Go to mining, and we'll go to rare metals mining facility. So we're going to start construction. Now this one should be chewing up 195, which we don't quite have, but we do get next term is going to be, we get another 95. Now the way it works, this is going to not make any sense at all if you're new to the game. When I go and click on start construction, you would assume 195 to be extracted from 176, and you'd assume 125 would come off this 378, like what happened with the roads. The road was a direct cost. Start construction. So we've now commenced construction of a rare metals mining facility. No change over here at all. The cost comes between the turns. So at the end of the turn, we now lose 195 industrial points to build that one. It comes at the start of the turn before we actually start our turn. So we end up with the benefit of the 95 coming in, plus the 176, minus the 195 or whatever it is that was it from this one through here, is going to give me 76 left over at the start of the next term. This is what we should end up having there. But it doesn't tell me that. And this is really confusing for new players. Similarly in through here, we've got 200 or whatever it is coming out of this one. We've got 273 coming back in. So but we don't see it immediately. And I wish it would show it. I wish it would show somehow that there's actually, that there's already been a reserved amount of this stuff. Because you make it think, oh, I can keep on building stuff. And technically you can, except that even like the machines, it's going to take 2 machines cost for this one. But we've only got 3 machines. If I start building things in through here that require machines, or even if I go back into here, for example, I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got that one sorted. Still got a shitload of stuff in through here. I can go back into construction in here. I can go back to my government buildings. I can start building these things as well. Don't do it because you won't see the cost of that until the next term. That's a big trap for new players. So we'll just exit that one out of there. Now, unfortunately, guys, I do actually have to make a move and get going today. So we didn't even end our first turn. Actually, one thing I will finish off on is what we do with our city. So let's just have a quick look. So we've got Kelvin's Cron in through here as the city. Now it's actually got this is the militancy level is actually very good. We also have different things, like we've got 1 fate point in through here. So this allows us to play powerful cards. The political points are what we use to play normal cards. This is our money. And then this is actually sort of what's called the Virtus, which we'll talk about like in a few episodes' time when we start needing to talk about the actual government types that we've got. So that one won't kick in just yet. Anyway, they're the important stuff we need to look at. But I want to get more fate points if it's viable for me to do so. So if I go back to my cards, let's just go back to our strategy cards. So we have different things through there, nothing in the majors. We've got a proposed piece with that one. Covert Ops, I can send a spy, not really worth doing. Nation, I can recruit juniors. I can try to increase the income tax. Now, she is going to have to do this one if we're going to be doing this, which is not really all that great. So I don't think she's going to be viable to do this one. This is the one that I'm interested in, though, this Paranoia. So what this one does is it plays, it's a random card. When I play it, I can't choose where it goes. I've only got one zone at the moment. Start off with one zone. So a random zone will get 4 die 10 increase in fear. The fate points will go up by, we'll get 2 more fate points. So it'll give me 3 fate points, which I'll be able to spend eventually. I don't have any fear. I don't have any danger at this stage. I might as well play it now. So you're surrounded by idiots. Why do they go on? Why don't they not go away? So die, disappear. Anyway, we gain 2 fate points. So let's just go with Paranoia. This will then push our home zone will go up by, there'll be fear, like paranoia in the actual location. So I'm just going to execute this one. So we're just going to execute the stratagem. So Bond will say we could try and send that spy into one of those nearby territories to scout far. It's not enough really to do that, and it's also going to be that really useless person doing it. It's I'm going to save up my spy cards. It would be handy to get this one. It's just 6 political points to play this card, but I don't think I'll do it. Difficulty will be 20. Difficulty 25 higher per 10% tax bracket. Administration roll will be made by the the secretary makes it. Oh, well, in that case, okay, I didn't realise the secretary made it until we have an interior council. In that case, I will play this one. So he's going to execute it. So this one here, we've got a difficulty of 70. So administration roll is going to be 1 die 100 plus 48 minus 25. So this one here, if we have a look at the skill level, so because he's so good with administration, we should actually, this is probably as good as we're going to get until we actually get an interior council. So we get a 6% bonus of 6. That's part of what he actually has. Leader skill roll, bonus of 22. The asterisk means secretary is executing the stratagem. There is a negative 25 penalty because he's not the actual person who should be doing it. The interior council should be doing it. So I've actually got, essentially I'm sort of right on the limits there. It's a 50-50 call. Let's just execute it and see how we go.
Yes, sir.
The total we rolled was 26. So what did we end up rolling? We actually, in the die 100 roll, we rolled a 3. So we ended up essentially with 3 plus 23. So it's like average would have been 50. We would have been over the average. Anyway, that's a waste of a card. So we've now wasted that card, and we wasted 6 points. So we're down to 11 now. Anyway, let's go and play the Paranoia card.
Order acknowledged.
Now this one we got fear plus 24. We've got 2 more fate points. We'll just go and click on OK. So we've got now up to 3 fate points, which can spend. We do actually have Boomtown, for example. So the population can be increased in here. So this one will go up by a fair amount if we do that one. Initially, I think I'll just wait until we need it. So I'll keep that one under control. We have these earlocks and personal guards, which we don't need, but we will get other fate cards over time, which will become important. So let's not worry about that one so much. Let's just go back to the strat cards. I just want to put that in the bank for now because we can deal with the fear. So there's the 24 fear that's here. The fear will go down slowly over time, so we don't need to really worry about it too much. So in this case, it'll be manageable. So now's the time to deal with this. Now the next decision we had to make was the Zone City upgrade, and really, if you've already got like if the Zone City, and we've got the city selected back over here, if they are if you sort of see down through here that the cultural adaptation is high, if the happiness is high, like over 50, and even the workers are high, over 50. Yeah, go and get the larger city. If you're struggling, if you're trying to get a city up, it's a regular zone, so we're paying, they're paying tax. So this is actually a productive city. when you don't want to do this is when you actually have, it becomes harder to control the city the bigger the city actually is. Actually, one other factor about this is when it's a factor of 2, city level of 2, I don't think it's going to matter that much. I'm just thinking about the quality of life and through here. Quality of life is higher than the zone civilization score, it will increase happiness. If it's lower, it will decrease happiness. The high limit for the zone quality of life is the quality of life average plus the divided by 2. So it doesn't matter about the level of the city there. I don't think any of these really worry about. Actually, there we go. Based on security points, the quality of life points get divided by the city level to arrive at the quality of life score. So this one here is the overall points that we see through here are impacted by the actual size of the city. So it gets divided by the number there. So if it's got 50 security points, the maximum this can then be is a third of that. I'm still thinking we still go with it because it's going to then also give us more growth in the city if we actually do go ahead with that one. But it's going to make it hard for us to get our civilization score up. The reason that that's important is if we go back to the Empire dashboard, we want to get our civilization level up. And so this is a civilization level is the square root of your average regular zone civilization levels. So at the moment 6, diminished by 1. So it's a square root of 6 diminished with 1. So at the moment we're 1.45. If I make and we get these by increasing the health score, security score, education score, and entertainment score. So as these go up, it then pushes the quality of life up, which pushes the civilization score up, which pushes the civilization level up. And we want to get to civilization level 2 because we want to go, if our government building, we want this bureaucratic office level 2, which requires a civilization level to be level 2. So it's complex. I don't think it's going to matter that much. It's going to impact the quality of life aspect, which will then keep the civilization down a little bit, but it will give us growth. So I think I will actually play this one and make it go bigger. But that's the reason not to. I've got 11. Actually, that's actually probably a reason not to do it. I think I'll do an Ask Me Later, just simply because we're going to really struggle with these political points. Let's just go and do that. Well, I will actually leave it here, guys, and we haven't really finished off our turn yet. What we'll do is we'll come back over the next couple of days and just keep on playing. But this one, I do want to start the expansion with my different units. I need to figure out who's around me and what that's all going to mean. So we'll do that tomorrow, I think. Or if we actually, I might play something else tomorrow. But anyway, again, if you are watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to this new channel. I need to try to get this up and monetized as fast as I possibly can. And I get that through subscriptions, basically, and views. But I will actually be trying to sort of push people across into this channel a little bit for these sort of extended live streams. And it's nice being not actually feeling like I've actually got to rush through through what I'm doing with this, which is good. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you tomorrow, certainly on Twitch. Not sure what I'll actually play there. So thanks, Sick, for subscribing. Very much appreciated. And we'll go from there. And I'm just going to make my way across.